嗯 Committee? Okay, it's 5:30. We'll call this regular meeting of the Public Works and Highway Committee to order. Roll call shows all members are in attendance, and we welcome our newest member, who was elected to the village board. I will entertain a motion for approval of the meeting minutes from April 1st.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Are there any questions, comments, or changes to the minutes? Hearing none, we will vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Moving on to unfinished business, there is none. New business A, consideration of well 7 liner installation and contract extension with CTW in the amount of $136,555.
Paul's here to discuss this item. Basically what it is. We have microbial induced corrosion in the existing column pipe, and it was caught early enough that to put a liner inside the current casing is a viable repair option, which allows us to take the well offline at our discretion to do the repair versus doing it as an emergent repair. Paul?
Yeah, so after televising of our rehab done by CTW this last year, it was determined because of the corrosion, it'd be appropriate to put a liner in. We also are asking for extension of CTW's contract. With that, we also reached out to 2 other firms just to get a price check on what CTW was going to provide on the liner, and it was as follows. Municipal Well and Pump came in at $202,814.40. Mid-City was non-responsive. So we are asking a recommendation for the extension of the CTW contract for the work.
Any committee? Bob?
Well, let me just get, this is pretty much the most expensive rehab you could do, putting a stainless steel liner in, isn't it?
For a basic well, our treatment wells cost a little bit more for rehab work.
And we didn't think that we'd have to get this expensive to fix this well.
Correct.
Because this is quite an increase.
Right.
It's,
The original rehab was about 114,000 just for the general cleaning, pulling and new piping, but it just after 40 years of buried in water and non-pathogenic bacteria, it does take effect on the casing.
Yeah, this is just like a whole project by itself. It's 54% of the total contract amount now. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, Jen.
Is the stainless steel the only option? I thought I saw PVC.
Not for casing, no. It has
Okay.
to be steel, and we prefer the stainless steel
Of
for
course.
more longevity.
Yeah. Did they not see this before? They did some work on this area.
Who's that?
The
CTW?
CTW.
They've seen this before at other wells, sure.
No, but I thought they did work on this well.
So it came up on its 10-year rehab. So every well has to be rehabbed every 10 years,
No matter what.
no matter what. It's a DNR requirement.
Okay. Thank you for clearing that up.
I'll entertain a motion.
Just one more question. Where's this additional money coming from?
It would be coming out of unrestricted funds.
Okay. I'll make a move to approve the amendment with CTW for rehabbing of well number 7.
I'll second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, we shall vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. E, which I assume is the second part of this, correct?
Correct.
Paul? Award of professional services agreement to Foth in the amount of $34,000 for well 7 liner installation and pump replacement professional services.
So just based on the new work, we're requiring and want both engineering to, they did the first part of the rehab consultant work, so we're bringing them in on the second phase of this.
Committee? Bob?
That's 25% of the construction cost, fee that they want. Is it that intensive to monitor a lining? Like they have 4 site visits at 8 hours a visit. That seems excessive too. The amount of hours, a whole day to come out and per visit.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly going to be broken up for the entire project, and it's probably not just going to be a day. It's several hours throughout this entire project. The first cost of engineering services just for the rehab, that was bid out at 37.5. So it actually is cheaper for just the liner.
Okay, so it seems reasonable to you, the
It-
amount of effort just for this
I
amendment?
believe it is, yeah.
There's somebody from Foth here.
There is, if you've got questions.
You want to maybe come up and explain why it costs that? That would be helpful. Yeah, you have to come up to the microphone.
Trustee Kaminsky, we do have a breakdown on the back of the project, fee information breakdown schedule.
Right. But
If you have it.
to answer Bob's question, I think it'd be
Yeah,
nice
sure.
to hear
In
it from.
addition to the inspection, it's also going to be for the pump selection as well. We'll be analyzing and selecting a pump based on the liner and the condition of the liner once it's installed. So it's the inspection, it's the additional coordination, it's the product administration, the additional pay request that's coming with it, and then pump selection.
So my discussions with Mr. Zimmerman, because of the diameter of this lining is different, there's some engineering involved to get the pumps to fit this. Is that correct?
Well, if you look at it like, yes, and it's not, right now we're looking at the liner because we can request a variance because your casing is still in a condition where it's not a concern for contamination. The casing's there, it's just reduced in thickness. So we can request a variance to put in a larger liner than you would. If the casing were to fail, it would require 3 inches of grout, so 1.5 inches of grout around the whole thing. Now, since we can request a variance, we can get a larger liner pipe. With a larger liner pipe, you can put a larger pump in, so we can try to match the capacity so we don't lose the capacity of the well. So that's why we're trying to do this now before the liner fails. That's, well, you know, because right now you have a 3/8 inch thick liner that probably lost 1/4 inch of steel in some places. So you have 1/8 of inch of a steel left. By putting in the liner now, we can put in, well, by doing the work now, we can put in a larger liner. And then we can fit a pump inside the well, but we have to look at the alignment after the liner's installed to see how large a pump we can put in. And then we have to do the pump selection.
So you're basically getting ahead of this before it costs 2 or 3 times more.
Well, we're getting ahead of it before when the repair is required, we'll lose capacity of the well.
And then it's our option as far as when we take that tower or that well out of commission. We have that luxury then.
Correct. Well, yeah, correct. It's our option. We will only find out if there's a failure in the liner when we do the next inspection. The reason why this wasn't caught earlier is because there's bacterial growth that forms on the liner, so you can televise it, but you can't see the depth of the corrosion. So once they televise the well initially when they started, then they come in and clean the well. They use a surge block and then they remove all the bacteria, and then you can see the condition of the casing. So now by getting ahead of it, it's gonna extend the life of this well another 50 to 100 years.
Those bacteria are pretty hungry critters, huh?
Here they are. It varies, municipality to municipality, but in Germantown, there's aggressive bacteria.
So we'll have this challenge at all of our wells?
Not necessarily, depending on the aquifer and where they pull it from the aquifer. This one you did, I've only seen well televising from a couple other ones. You have had some wells that have experience, but not all.
Well 5 next to this well, actually, we had rehabbed 2024, and that did not show any significant signs of what we're seeing here at 7.
Thank you.
Could we have a motion? Then we can have more discussion.
I thought I
I'll
did. Oh, no, that was for the previous one.
I'll move to award a professional services agreement to Foth in the amount of $34,000 for well 7, liner installation and pump replacement professional services. Any s-
Second,
Okay, Jan.
So you're saying that the quarter-inch of steel that is missing is bacterial
Is it up?
from the bacteria
Correct. Bacterial induced erosion.
erosion. Okay,
Erosion, yeah.
that's crazy.
We have a motion and a second. Further discussion or questions? Hearing none, we'll vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you. It was a
Thank
great
you.
explanation too. I really appreciate that. Now we're going to move on to why everybody is here, I presume, for the April storm update discussion. And we are going to have a presentation. The village has been working on this and looking into it. We're going to present, and then anybody after that presentation who has questions, you're going to come right up and ask questions, comment, or whatever you'd like to do. I have to ask, is there anybody in here other than for the well, for the water issue? Yes, come on up. I'm sorry, I missed that, so you please come up. I should have seen you back there.
Okay, Melanie Smythe, N140W17938 Cedar Lane. Good evening. I have a variety of items. The first one is just a process thing. We've had various conversations at several meetings about always including the accounting lines in presented items, whether for budgeted items or where money is to be found in the budget. So I'm asking that that can be part of all the presentations that are presented to this committee going forward. Second thing is, several years ago, there was in the road program, the section of Rockfield Road between Goldendale and where I can't remember the name of the road, where the new well and tower is, whatever that road is, that's northwest or north-south. It was going to be included in the road work paid for by the TID that continues onto the highway. That road was rebuilt 5 years ago, as I understand it, and I think it's a waste of money to actually include that and redoing it again so soon. So I'm asking that that not be done. Okay, and so a couple of other things I've noticed driving around, going along Freistadt, right where Fond du Lac is along the river, there's a ton of trees down. This may be contributing to some of the problems. I won't talk about the storm. And the last thing is the yard waste permit. I'm slightly disappointed that the first option that was presented was immediately go to fees, which in my view is just another tax. We don't have any other options. The issues were generally discussed, but it sounds to me like it's an operational issue with getting cars through there. When I went to get my permit for recycle, it took 2 minutes. It really didn't take very long. And the suggestion, for limiting the number of free permits, that's a good one. And if you want to charge people for more, but it sounds to me like something is not working very well from an operational standpoint. But I'm against talking about any kind of fee until this discussion possibly even goes to utility advisory or somewhere else. But there should be more options to consider rather than just say, okay, we're going to charge everyone $5 for a sticker. Those are my comments. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. I think, Tim, are you doing the presentation?
Yes.
Okay.
So Trustee Warren and I went over this presentation last week. He asked me to include this particular slide, just a refresher on how sewers in Germantown work. So sewers in Germantown are what are known as a separate system. Your stormwater is separate from your sanitary flow. Storm drains typically capture runoff from your yard, from your sump pump. the water that makes it into the road, into the catch basins, that goes into a storm sewer. Storm sewers are typically sized much larger than a sanitary sewer. Since your sanitary sewer typically handles household wastewater flow, your peak gallon per minute you're going to see in a house is typically around 5 gallons a minute, typically from a toilet flushing or a water softener back charging. However, in certain rain events, the storm system can cross over and enter the sanitary sewer, typically caused by a power outage and the loss of the ability to pump with a sump pump. So April 14th to April 17th, 2026, total rain measured at the Old Farm Lift Station, which is a certified weather field office for the National Weather Service, was 7.10 inches. You can see that on the evening of April 12th. We had a couple rain events. The dark blue line represents the rain intensity. The light blue line represents actual rain volume. As we progress through the week, you can see on the 13th, we had a few small rain events. On the 14th, we had some that were a little bit more significant. On April 15th is when we really got shellacked with a doozy. You can see there that we had a rain rate of 7.7 inches per hour. The actual rain event itself during that peak volume was about 1 inch and a tenth. And then again, on April 16th, we had another significant rain event, all totaling 7.10 inches for that week. So on April 14th, intense supercell thunderstorms developed south and west of Germantown. This was the same thunderstorm cell that spawned an EF2 tornado that hit the village of Lisbon. The same cell intensified as it progressed north and east and entered Washington County. As the storm hit, it had intense pea-sized to dime-sized hail and dumped a massive amount of rain, with the most intense occurring between 6:45 and 7 p.m., which was also during the tornado-warned time period in the village of Germantown. We had 0.91 inches of rain in 15 minutes. And the total precipitation for the evening of April 14th was 2.64 inches. Here's another graph. We look at that big blue spike. That's the rain intensity that occurred in that 15-minute interval. You can see on the dark blue line of the graph that we hit a peak rain rate of 7.7 inches per hour. And the light blue indicates that intense rainfall, 15-minute interval of 0.91 inches. So at 7:15 p.m., our first wastewater on-call personnel was on site for a power fail at Lift 3. This correlated with a very large village power outage that affected about 1/3 of the heavily populated center village area of the village. It was basically bound by Freistadt Road to the north, County Line Road to the south, Western Avenue, Carriage Avenue, and Wagon Trail to the west, and Fond du Lac Avenue to the east. And that power outage lasted until approximately 3:30 in the morning. And by 8:30 p.m., we had additional wastewater operators arriving. This is a map of the power outage. Now, this is by no means an exact outage map from We Energies. This is a map that we created based off of call data that came into Village Hall following the storm event. And we kind of took those incidences because we were asking the question, did you have a power outage? And we plotted it on the map, and this is kind of how the map turned out. So from 8:30 p.m. to 8 a.m., we had 4 utility operators on site. We continued to monitor levels and pumps, and we were monitoring a critical elevation at the intersection of Whitetail Run and Autumn Drive, where we had the most significant impacts in August. And at the entire time we were monitoring, Old Farm Lift Station was operating at full capacity. We did set up bypass pumps at Old Farm in the event that more rain fell and a sanitary sewer overflow bypass would become necessary. And at 8:05 in the morning, the first reports of sewage in the basement and water in the basement started coming into Village Hall. At no time during the night before did we have any indication of any of the upstream issues at Willowwood subdivision and Juniper Drive? We had no communication with the police department that there was any 911 calls, and our 24-hour on-call service did not receive any calls either. So everybody's into work on April 15th. Phones begin ringing off the hook at Village Hall. Our engineering department immediately mobilized to begin triage of complaints and began investigating all of them. The wastewater utility investigated upstream sewers from the Old Farm Lift Station looking for leaks, missing manhole covers, anything that would indicate a massive influx of clear water into the system. The greatest impact due to sewage was the Willowwood subdivision and several homes on Juniper Drive. And the greatest impact due to water in the basements was the subdivision of the Preserve, Wooded Hills, and Sunbury Downs. Reports came in later in the week stating water was over the road on Lilac Lane. And interestingly enough, it was actually east of the river crossing. And there was water over Division Road, actually north of the Jefferson Ditch during the peak rain event of the night. And those observations were from Trustee Jan Miller on her way back from a dinner engagement she had at the fire department. And she happened to be driving through that neighborhood on her way home at about 7:15 in the evening that night. On April 27th, after we had our spring open house here at Village Hall, talking with some of the residents, we indicated that we had a contractor geared up to inspect the 30-inch sanitary interceptor in Division Road. That work was completed on April 27th by Great Lakes TV and Seal. And to the relief of us, they found nothing indicating damage to that interceptor from the August storm event. We had a theory that possibly there was a compromise on that 30-inch pipe due to some scouring that occurred on the Jefferson Ditch Bridge on Division Road, but there was no sign of a compromise on that pipe. We didn't find anything of significance that would indicate that it was a failure of that pipeline that caused the inflow. And April 27th through May 1st, Germantown utility personnel conducted closed circuit television inspections at Juniper Drive and Willowwood subdivisions, the sanitary sewers in there. So if you saw the yellow trucks in your neighborhood, that's what we were doing at that time. So the findings of fact through all of this, 7.10 inches of rain fell at the weather station at Old Farm Lift, April 12th through April 18th. 0.91 inches of rain fell in 15 minutes on April 14th, and a total of 2.64 inches of rain fell in the 24-hour period of April 14th to April 15th. A large section of the village had a significant power outage. Water in the basements is a direct result of the power outage because the sump pumps failed to pump clear water out of the sump crock. The sump crocks overflow and hit the floor drains, which very quickly overwhelms the sanitary sewer. Because if you remember in the diagram earlier, storm sewer pipes are very large to handle large amounts of water, and sanitary pipes are typically very small because they don't have to handle those larger amounts of water that the storm has to during a storm event. Clear water entered the sanitary system through floor drains after the sump pumps lost power. All tributary basins of the Old Farm Lift Station functioned as designed with no overflows. And the inflow to Old Farm was almost immediately following a peak rain event of 4/14. So on this graphic here, the vertical line on the left is 5:30 p.m. on April 14th, and the blue vertical line is approximately 8:30 p.m. So right where that blue line starts to go up is that rain event that occurred at 6:15 to 7:30 p.m. on April 14th, where we had those intense bouts of rain that were spawned by the supercell that did the tornado in Lisbon. And that water hit the Old Farm Lift Station in a way we've never seen water affect the sewer system before. And our theory is that it rained so intensely and so heavily that everybody's yard, the ditches, the roads, everything was full, and there was simply nowhere else for the water to go. It was fast and furious. We have video from Trustee Trustee Kaiser. He sent video of sewers on Lilac Lane or culvert crossings on Lilac Lane, overtopping the road, running full pipe, water bubbling out through the just field tiles in, you know, in his neighborhood. It was just a rain event of super significance. I mean, it was right up there with the August event. You hate to compare two storms, you know, side by side like that because they occurred so quickly back to back, but they were very similar in nature, but yet very different. So we conducted CCTV inspections on Juniper and Willowwood subdivisions. No defects of any significance were noted on Juniper Drive. A week following the rain event, the 18-inch sewer on Wildflower Lane still had quite a bit of clear water infiltration. As of April 29th, we started doing door-to-door investigations, and we found one residence on Willowwood Court who have a cross-connected sump pump, a broken sanitary lateral at a yard cleanout, and improper roof drainage causing direct clear water flow into the sanitary sewer. So these are pictures from inside that home of the cross-connected sump pump, and on the right is a 6-inch sanitary lateral running about half full, showing the infiltration of groundwater a full week after the rain event. So our conclusions are that MMSD classified this rain event as a 100-year storm based on rain intensity. And we believe that water rose so quickly in Willowwood subdivision and Juniper Drive that the storm sewer filled to capacity, making some pumps non-functional due to the static head pressure on the check valves. And this led to clear water entering the floor drains, which quickly filled the 18-inch sanitary sewer. And this was the cause of the sanitary sewer backups in the homes along Wildflower Lane. The amount of head pressure in the 18-inch sanitary sewer and the inflow of clear water into the sanitary system from areas in the village experiencing the power outage served by the 36-inch interceptor, which is tributary to the Old Farm Lift, contributed to the backup of the 8-inch sanitary sewer serving Juniper Drive. And the increased head pressure in that gravity sewer caused some people's backflow valves to lose functionality. And that's,
Can you put that last slide?
I'm sorry, yep.
Excuse me for not understanding all of this, but what do we mean by I think it's the head flow, static head flow pressure?
So
Like, let's say it's my basement and it's raining like crazy, what's happening? If I live on Juniper Drive.
I think there's approximately 20 homes in the Willowwood subdivision, and the lower third of that subdivision has a dedicated storm sewer in Willowwood Drive. And everybody, if you go in your basement, you're going to see your sump pump discharges into a 6-inch pipe. And where your 2-inch transitions to that 6 inches, a check valve there. And when that pipe in the road is full, and the road is full of water, and your yard is full of water, there's nowhere else for that water to go but pushing pressure on the water that's in that pipe, and that's pushing it back up towards your house.
Mhm.
And your check valve, your sump pump's kicking on, but it can't open that check valve because there's more pressure coming at the check valve holding it closed.
Mhm.
And the little 1/3 horsepower pump in your basement is not strong enough to open that valve to relieve the stormwater that's in your crock.
Mhm. Wow, what a mess.
It's the same scenario that happened on Juniper Drive. Some of the residents put in backwater valves after the August event. And there again, that 8-inch sanitary filled and it's pushing back up that lateral and that check valve closed. And unbeknownst to them, some people continued to use water like normal. They did dishes, maybe took a shower, had a load of laundry going on, and that water couldn't leave the home. So it backed up out of the floor drain and caused the sanitary backup into their basements.
So I guess what can be done, if anything, to avoid this type of thing in the next rain event, big rain event? Are we saying nothing? It's like,
If it's rain events like the two that we've experienced in the last 6 months, no, there is nothing that can be done. The sewers are not built to handle that kind of flow. They're designed to handle a certain classification of rain event. Kevin, correct me if I'm wrong. Storm sewer is a 25-year rain event, which is a 25% reoccurrence interval. A 100-year storm event is a 1% reoccurrence interval that you can have that storm. There's a 1% chance that you can have a 100-year storm on back-to-back days, right? The one in August was considered a 1,000-year storm event, so that's a 1/100th of a percent reoccurrence interval that you could have that same storm in back-to-back days. Sanitary sewers are sized to handle normal domestic flows. They're not sized to handle influx of clear water into them. They are, however, sized with a certain amount of inflow and infiltration because there's no such thing as a perfectly tight pipe. They all leak to a certain degree. That typical fudge factor on a sanitary is 3 to 1, 4 to 1 peaking factor. So if you're gonna ask, is it ever gonna happen again? Yes, it's gonna happen again. If we see rain events of this magnitude, it will happen again. I mean, the Menominee River was the discharge of the Jefferson Ditch was under 4 feet of water at one point during this rain event. And which means that the Menominee River has to come down 4 feet before the Jefferson Ditch can even begin to relieve itself. Those are just facts. I mean, that's the outfall at the river to the height of the river. And we didn't have the significance down on County Line that we had during the August event, but we were monitoring it. We were able to get by with 1 3-inch pump to protect lift 6 this time without having to raise the height of the dike around it with straw bales and sandbags.
If there hadn't been a power outage, would it have been the same outcome?
I believe it would not have been. I
Okay.
believe if we'd had, the one thing we didn't have in August that we had in this rain event was the power outage. We did not have a significant power.
Yeah, but we did. But we did.
We understand that the people that live on Juniper Drive and Willowwood Drive did not lose power, but a significant portion of the people that live upstream from you did. And those sewers all come from the east to the west. And so when you lose power in, let's just say it was 100 homes upstream, and you got some pumps that are pumping at 20 gallons per minute, and all of a sudden they can't pump, and that water hits the sanitary sewer, there's nowhere for that water to go except into the gravity sewer, which isn't designed to handle that type of flow.
Okay. Committee first, any questions, or can we start allowing our audience members to come up?
Well, I was this before. Yeah. So I talked to some of you after that, and it's really a hardship. Most of the people said, every time they see bad weather approaching, they get PTSD. It's really a horrible situation to be in. I was hoping to say that maybe a good thing is that all of the wrong things had to come together here. And I was hoping that power, if you take power out of the equation, I mean, it improves our chances, but it doesn't eliminate them because, as you say, upstream homes lose power, sending all of their what should be clear water, which should be in the storm sewer, is now in the sanitary sewer. So it's like, no pun intended, it's like a ripple effect that you get into here. I was hoping that through our investigations that we found like some defect in one of the pipes or missing manhole covers where clear water was getting in, but it's a compliment to the infrastructure that it's still in good shape, but I know that doesn't appease property owners who still get water basement, so.
Okay, whoever would like to speak, you come up to the microphone, please hand your sheet. You filled out a yellow card, hopefully, and you will hand that to the lady at the end of the counter. The cards are right by the door. So why don't we start with somebody that has a yellow card filled out? And you could state your name and address for the record. That would be awesome for us. Thank you.
My name is Stephen Mohar. I live on Juniper Drive, N106 W17050 Juniper Drive. One of the things that I want to bring up is, so we've talked about, well, a couple of things. These 100-year and 1,000-year rain events are happening more than 100 years and 1,000 years. So perhaps we need to think about the infrastructure and making it more to reality nowadays. That's, it appears as though these types of things are happening more often than they used to, and we need to account for that. Second thing I want to bring up is we talk about the water in the basements, we talk about a lot of different issues. One of the things that I don't think was talked about the last one, and I didn't hear anything about, are the drainage easements. So my house backs up, there's a drainage easement behind our houses, and that I have never seen that drainage easement, as full as it was during this last event. Even during the August event, it wasn't that full. So there appears to be some issues. I know years ago, we talked to some folks at the village. And then again, I talked to a few people this time, but there seems to be an issue. There's a drain at the end of the line, but the water can't make it there. It pools behind the houses before it gets there, and stuff gets in the drain. There appears to me to be a lot of issues with that drainage easement behind the homes, and that water just keeps backing up. And then when our sump pumps go off and our sump pumps push water into that easement, well, if it's full, it can't do it. Like you talked about earlier, the head pressure on that is just pushing it back into the house. So I just want to mention that what I would request is that some of these drainage easements also be addressed or looked at to see if there's any issues with getting them cleared out. I know that perhaps there's things that are growing into it. People have allowed it, but if we could have somebody take a look at those and look at that as a potential issue as well.
The thing to keep in mind is that the drainage easements, when they were built as part of the subdivision,
Mhm.
were built to the current ENR standards at the time.
Okay.
Which, Kevin, 10-year storm prior to what? Yeah, come have a seat up here, Kevin. We'll keep you busy for a while. So the easements behind the houses function as they should during a normal rainfall. This was the night of April 14th was
Mhm.
another extreme rain event where water cannot get away quick enough. And the problem with them being in backyards is people like to landscape in their backyard. They like to screen themselves from their neighbor, and a lot of people use wood mulch. Well, wood mulch likes to float in rain events like these. Some people have piles of firewood that has a tendency to float and move downstream also. We responded with everybody we had to keep storm drains clear during this entire event. Once the rain hit on April 14th, we had staff in around the clock because we knew these storms were going to keep coming. Because we were watching the forecast, we were watching the weather just like everybody else was. And we were trying to be proactive to mitigate any further damage to people's houses or yards or whatever if we had continuing rain like we saw on April 14th.
So I guess if there are issues with mulch, with wood, then I think people need to be informed that you can't put that there. I mean, is it that simple? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But I think that addressing it, has it overgrown too much where people need to push back? And is it the homeowner's responsibility? Is it is that actually an easement that belongs to? I mean, it's not my property, right? I believe it's.
Can I respond?
Yep.
So it's a case by case basis.
Okay.
If you have a concern, calling Village Hall, 262-250-4721.
Yeah.
We can schedule a site investigation for
And
that.
I've talked to a
that-
couple of people and I have an email. I'm just waiting for a response. as
So
to
for
whether-
For that specific site,
Yes.
we'll do a follow-up. And
Okay.
then that site investigation can identify if there's obstructions in the easement.
Mhm.
This is a topic also that at the planning commission where there's obstructions in drainage easements. And the code of ordinance allows for removal of obstructions from drainage easements. Whether it's a private drainage easement or a public drainage easement, that is a factor on who is ultimately responsible for that maintenance. If you have called in, please call again. There's 3 or 4 of us that have been trying to keep up with the large volume. So a gentle reminder helps. And when we go out on site and we see that there's not necessarily damage, but maybe just some vegetation growth compared to areas where there's debris or some signs of potential damage, the priority shifts towards where there's potential damage. And if we don't see anything in that easement, even though there's vegetation, that may not rise to a priority level.
If I could weigh in. So we met, I saw your, the drainage easement and that, and part of it is, it's kind of like fire hydrants in the winter. You know, you don't own them, but they're important. And the neighbors whose yard it is in, we ask that they keep it cleared, you know, because seconds are critical when there's a fire. I kind of look at easements behind your house as maybe somebody could take some kind of ownership, like when you're cutting the grass, and if you see if there's a lot of debris on that field inlet, you know, just rake it off or get it out of the area. I mean, that would help everybody. Being on the plan commission, we get requests from property owners to put fences in these drainage easements. And anytime you restrict flow in these easements, be it plantings or shrubs or fences, you know, you restrict the flow from going through there and it backs up to all the neighbors in that. And I've kind of got a bad name on the plan commission because I asked for an engineer to do a study, a hydraulic study to prove that the high water in the ditch does not get to the bottom of the fence, thereby restricting the flow. But that's been kind of a tough battle. So there's things like that that we're looking at from the plan commission level as far as keeping those drainage easements clear, because you know, any restriction just creates a problem like that, especially when everything is pushed to the max with these extreme storms, and that then you see where some of the failures are on this.
So, and also in that drainage area, there are utilities in there. There seems to, it looks like AT&T and a couple others. Those were pretty much underwater behind our houses. And I don't know if they're supposed to be there, but they, you know, it becomes an issue. And I get that there's some potentially, I may understand that there's some responsibility of the homeowner, but I think some understanding of, well, where is that line? What should we be clearing out? How far back should we be, how far does that easement go?
Yeah.
Because I think I will just say behind my house, it appears to be lower than the drain. So it collects behind the house and it sits there because it can't make it to the drain.
Yeah, and I think this is, so when we approve a plat and it shows the drainage easements and the elevations and the grades are all figured out. So the old saying is it looks good on paper. But when the developer comes in, you know, it's piecemeal a lot of times, like this lot will be developed over here, then this one. And the grading a lot of times just doesn't really follow what's been designed from the hydraulics. And that's where you could be getting high points midstream, so it's blocking water from getting through. So that could be some of the problems where it would have to be regraded out. But certainly anybody else who has notices an issue like that, they should contact Village Hall so we can, you know, survey it or get some elevations on it to take a look at that.
Yeah, if I may follow up on Bob's point, that was the suggestion I was going to offer with respect to if it's a private easement, then it would be the private property owner's responsibility to hire that surveyor to identify that location of the easement. If it's a public easement, then contacting Village Hall 262-250-4721. We can schedule a site investigation and schedule a survey to lay that easement out to answer your questions.
How would you know if it's private or
Yeah.
public? If you moved into the house long after the development went up and,
Yes, filing an open records request for the plat would be able to identify the easements that are on the plat document.
Is this
The clerk's
something,
office.
is this something we can do at some point, is determine what's private and what isn't?
We actually looked into, Jake, this is Cedar Hills, right? Is that the name of the subdivision? Yeah. So we looked at the plat for Cedar Hills and it is in the developer's agreement as well as on the plat document that any easement under 25 feet in width is a private drainage easement, which is 95% of the easements in that development. So I can't speak directly to yours exactly because I don't know exactly where you live, but the vast majority of the drainage easements in Cedar Hills are private easements because they're less than 20 feet in width.
So it's our responsibility
Correct.
to,
Which is the way a lot of these older subdivisions are
Mhm,
prior to having stormwater detention basins.
mhm. But if it's, if there's a low point, so it's our responsibility to go in and regrade the area.
If it's a private drainage easement,
And-
yes.
But if my neighbor doesn't do it, and this neighbor is on either side of me doesn't do it, that doesn't help me. This is a problem from, it comes down, there's one drain from the path that goes across up north on Juniper Drive, there's a path up there. And from that path to, what is that road?
Redwood.
Thank you. To Redwood, there's one drain. And everything flows downhill, and I happen to be at the bottom of the hill.
Mm.
So,
You know-
You have an HOA.
I'm sorry?
You have an HOA.
No.
Those are older subdivisions. But I think that, Kevin, you can talk, but I'm just going to say, I think that we have to look into this as a village to help these people. I don't know if anybody's going to agree with me. At least figure out what's private.
Yeah.
I mean, we're only dealing with the people who were flooded here. It's only like 3 neighborhoods. I mean, we can figure out if they have private drainage or if they have public drainage. And even if we have to go out and measure it's 20 feet or whatever, I think that we need to do this to do something, to help. And I would suggest that. Now, Kevin, I'll let you go ahead and talk, but I really, just you can see where I'm coming from on this.
Yes. So the convention has been for areas in public easements and public rights of way that the public works projects would get budgeted for improvements, like in response to drainage complaints, for example. But for private property, that would be the responsibility of the respective property owners. So if there were drainage improvements on private property, then similar to a site development by a private property owner, there would be improvements proposed, and then that could be presented through respective site plans. So you could hire a surveyor for your private property and engineer to do the design and to get those site plans approved.
Yeah.
With respect to what Terry's saying, if there's direction otherwise from pursuing or for pursuing work on private property, that's the direction that staff can pursue. And I think it's just generating a list based on our meeting today so that staff is clear on the level of effort
Mhm.
that's required
Exactly.
beyond the baseline amount of work that village staff already has based in the budget that's been approved.
We understand that. But I think we need to do something. And I'm not going to sit here tonight and say, "Oh, we can't do anything." I think we know these neighborhoods. We have them right here in our PowerPoint presentation. Let's at least determine what is public. And we're saying there's 5 to 10% that is public. These people don't know if they're public or private. Let's go out there and measure that. Whether we do it tomorrow or not, I don't care. I mean, we have to do it within a reasonable time frame and get all our other work done too. But I think that's at least something we can offer as a starting point. And then beyond that, I would want that brought back, that information to us as a committee. And we still would have to vote on this. But at that point, let's see where we're at. How much is public? How much is private? And at the same time, if you see any, probably won't be you, Kevin, but I mean, engineer would see any distinct problem, like this gentleman is saying, yeah, he's the unfortunate one at the bottom of the hill and his water can't flow uphill. Maybe you'll see that and we could say, okay, here's where the main problems are. Then we say, how can we figure this out? Yeah, and we don't know, like, our public money goes to public things, but you know what? We have to tell you what the problem is. So you know what you're facing before you hire a surveyor and, because all that costs a lot of money, a lot of money. So let's see what we can do to help, is where I'm coming from. Bob?
So the elephant in the room is that the collection system where your field inlet would drain to was inundated and surcharged. So it wasn't necessarily because of debris or obstruction in your drainage easement, or the grades aren't exactly working out. It's because the collection system where that inlet would drain to in the road was surcharged. It was inundated. So sure, with smaller storms, you'll see more ponding than you should, or if there's debris blocking your field grade, you'll get more ponding in that. But really the big picture was the intensity of these storms for this incident, where even if you had a clear grade, perfect grade, it still wouldn't
Would've
go
been
anywhere.
flooded.
It wouldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
If we would have had this rain event in July after, we haven't had rain now since that week in April, right? And the wind's been blowing and the sun has been out, the ground is drying out, the grass is greening up, absorbing some of that water out of the soil. If we would have had this rain event in June or July during a dry period of the year, we wouldn't have seen these same results.
I know, but I'm sorry, but that's not comforting.
I know.
It's not, but
I know.
I can't.
It's
I'm
the
one of
reality.
people that mentioned to Robert that it's like, you see rain coming and you're like, oh my God.
I would
I'm
feel the
gonna
same way.
open my
Absolutely.
basement door and look down the steps.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
all right.
Well, at least
Thank
we can do something like that for you.
help
Yeah.
With determining public-private,
Yeah.
because it is going to be very expensive to hire an engineer, hire a great, all these different.
And maybe you don't have to, or maybe you're public, who knows?
Who knows?
So let's figure it out.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm going to make a motion to that effect, that we look at these drainage ditches, particular in the areas of this flooding only, and determine what's private and what's public, and bring that back to our committee.
That'll show up on the plats.
But somebody has to look at the plat and let us know. Let's bring it back to this committee so these people can be informed, and then inform these residents if they're public or private. Does it make sense?
Yeah, we just went through this with Plan Commission. Actually, the same property owner had a public easement, and on the backside, it was a
Okay.
private easement.
There's a motion on the table.
I'm just trying to make a point.
I know, but that's discussion.
I'll
Please,
I'll second for discussion.
now for discussion. You said it's at Plan Commission as well.
Yes, the particular property had both. And fortunately, the public easement, they had a storm sewer underneath it. So putting an obstruction in that easement wasn't a big deal because it wasn't surface runoff that was creating the problem.
Mhm.
But in the private, it's a whole different thing. And the village attorney had to weigh in on that and saying pretty much it goes to a homeowners association. They have to sign off on that. Or if there is not a homeowners association, it's you try to determine what properties are draining to that easement, and then you have to get them to sign off on this. Now, my question is, do they really know what they're signing off on? So you get into all of that.
It's going to be messy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's already messy. I don't think it can get too much more messy, but at least it's something we can do.
Yeah. If we can
We
do
can't
anything
control the rain,
to make
you
it
know?
better. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Who else would like to speak? Okay. Is there any other comments on the motion? Okay, and Tim asked us to specify it's Cedar Hills and Willowwood. Is there anybody else with a drainage? No? Okay. We'll add that to the motion. Any other comments? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Okay, and could you state your name and address, please?
My name is Amy Willard and I live on Wildflower Lane. I've lived there for 22 years. In August of last year, I had 22 inches of raw sewage in my basement. It took 6 weeks to clean up my basement, to air it out and make sure everything was dry. On let me back up. After that was in August, in December, we started to renovate our basement. Finished it in March. In April, we had 8 inches of raw sewage in our basement. It took 4 weeks. We just finished airing everything out and drying up the basement. What you are telling me is that all my neighbors that are here today, we can't use our basements. We probably can't even sell our houses. If you tell us that this could very potentially happen again. But what is so ironic to me is that on April 15th, we had DPW crews on our street. And I walked up to them. It was probably a little after 8 o'clock. I said, you know, there's like 6 or 7 houses down here that have sewage in their basement. They had no idea. No idea. They were there to clean out all the sewer grates. And they called it in right away. I was down at my neighbor's house. We're all talking. We can see the truck pull into the pump station. And miraculously, guess what happened? 8 inches of sewage out of my basement like that. Like somebody flipped a switch. It was there moments before I walked out the door. And after I watched the truck pull into the pump station, 8 inches of water is gone. I don't know how that happened. I don't know who flipped a switch. But I do know that it is very disheartening for my neighbors and I to stand here and listen to you tell us there's probably going to happen again. And there's absolutely nothing that we can do about it. I think that's unacceptable. That response is unacceptable. How are we supposed to, do you know what it's like living with shit in your basement and how much that smells and how it just seeps into every pore of the house? It's horrible. It made me sick. I was vomiting for a week because of that smell. Please don't take this lightly. These people were suffering. And you're telling us there's absolutely nothing the village can do? And I ask you to put yourself in our shoes. There has to be something. Some of my neighbors have put in backflow preventers, taken on an additional expense. Some of us have spent, well, after this flood, almost $80,000 with cleanups, Serve Pro, new furnace, 2 hot water tanks. That's not fair. We pay our taxes. We've been here for 22 years. Some people have been here longer. I'm asking again, please help us. I don't want to threaten that we are going to take legal action, but we've got to come up with some sort of compromise. Something has to happen.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Tim, is there a switch? What is,
There is not a switch, but just as I showed on that graphic, how fast the water entered the system, that's how fast it can leave the system as water levels attenuate in the Jefferson ditch, storm sewer flows come down, wastewater flows come down during different times of the day.
but there is no switch.
There is no magic
It's,
switch.
it's always on. So
And it was
it is ironic. What would they have been doing at the pump station?
monitoring levels.
Yeah.
That's what we were doing all night long.
Monitoring levels is what they're doing all night. If we had a switch, we definitely would keep it on. I mean, we're not trying to flood your basements. We're really not. Is in our dream world, is there anything we could do to, I mean, I'm dream world. How big would the pipes have to be? How much would that cost? I'm just to get a suggestion from,
So the facilities plan has identified lift state. Excuse me. The facilities plan has identified lift station improvements. So as part of those capacity improvements, that's designed for the sanitary build out of the system, as well as peak wet weather I&I, infiltration and inflow into the sanitary system. That peaking factor that Tim had mentioned, 3-to-1, 4-to-1, that can be factored in, especially in systems that are more prone to higher infiltration and inflow. So the force mains that are being designed, those diameters could be increased, pumps could be increased, but the facility plan that's been established is based on standard practices, industry best practices right now. So if we were to be looking at changes to those capacity improvements for the future build out conditions, that's something that's possible. However, the design has already been approved and is moving forward. So we would have to take a hard look at what are the specific parameters to change those design factors to increase it from a 16-inch to a 20-inch.
And would a 20-inch be enough?
Would a 20-inch be enough for
For an event
volume
like
for
this?
with given the position that I'm in, it's hard to make a snap judgment saying yes or no. With respect to the Menominee River level backwaters impacting the gravity drainage system, that is a very significant factor that controls a lot of the stormwater and how the sump pumps are functioning, and how building sewers are functioning. Improved pump capacity will help with the sanitary system. And that's been in the works, and it's being designed, and that's moving forward.
Okay, thank you, Ken. Bob, any comments? No. Anybody else who would like to come up, please?
My name is Ranganathan, and I live on Juniper Drive. My first house is on Juniper Drive, and the past few months has been a living hell for us. Sewage backs up, and every time it rains, we are having a heart attack because we think it's going to back up. We've lost a lot of tens of thousands of dollars in replacing the equipment and cleaning the basement. And one comment I would like to make is that we have lived there for about 30 years and never had such a problem. And I'm sure if you go back and look at the last 30 years, I'm sure we have had similar situations where there's been plenty of rain and we never had any problem. So what changed? It looks like something changed about a year ago or so, and there's no mention of that. And what really changed in last year or so? Because that's when the problem, from August is when the problem started, or at least we noticed the problem in August. And you're telling me there's nothing. What is the root cause of the problem? Power failure and rain? I mean, that's going to happen every year. It's going to rain, and every time it rains, we are so worried that we are sick. And old people like us, the sanitary condition is so bad that we could get sick and possibly die. Who's responsible for it? And you're telling me that there's no corrective action that you can take. And it's really very disheartening, and hope you can find some solution and help us. The next time it rains, we got to be up all night long, hoping that nothing is going to come in from the sewage side. The problem is sewage. And where is the sewage backing from? I mean, is there too many houses now, or too many subdivisions now, or what is the reason for all that? And you're telling me that it's all the problem of nature. that's causing, and some incidents like power failure and stuff like that. We've had similar situations before. It's nothing new. And we never had any sewage backing up. We have had some rainwater backing up, but no sewage backing up. And every time sewage backs up, it's a major sanitary issue. And cleaning it up is not, cheap. It's pretty expensive. And we have spent thousands of dollars who are living on fixed income to solve this problem. And it looks like the village can do more and help us resolve this issue, because putting our house on sale is not going to bring any value to the house, because we have to say the sewage has backed up twice, and there goes the value of the house. And how are we supposed to live? It's almost impossible. It's a living hell. Every time it rains, we are so worried that we are sick. So please do something. Don't say that there's nothing you can do to correct the situation. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. I think it is true that these two rain events are the biggest rain events we've ever had in Germantown. Am I correct on that, Tim?
One in August definitely was.
It was, in August, it was for sure. With the intensity within that small amount of time, yes, absolutely. And there is no question that weather is changing. We are having much more of these rain events. We don't normally have tornadoes here, and look at in April, we're all in our basements trying to hide from tornadoes. Things are changing, there's no doubt about that. But I mean, I'll ask again, is there anything that you guys can think of short-term that we can do? They're really,
We've inspected the inlet structure on the Jefferson Ditch. It's fine. We've inspected the entire pipeline all the way down to the Menominee River. There was some theory that pipe was plugged with wood. It's not.
there's nothing downstream that could have been plugged up, like when it goes into
Well, there's-
Menominee
there's-
Falls
There's
or?
plenty that's plugged up in the main stream of the river. I mean, it's
Yeah.
choked with dead ash. I mean, that's everywhere, but that's not the village's responsibility to go clear a river channel that's on private property.
Yeah.
That's not the village's role.
Does that have a role in this backup?
I don't think it had a role in the initial backup. It certainly had a role in how long we stayed surcharged, because it's taking longer for the Menominee River to drain out. And that is a combination of what's happening downstream at Menominee Falls, what's happening in Wauwatosa. We're the headwaters. We create the water. It has to go south. It either has to go south or it has to stay here, because this is where it's created.
And they had problems in the falls too, as I understand.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So nothing, Kevin, any magic wand?
I try putting a magic wand in the budget every year, but it never gets added.
What magic wand do you have?
No, it never gets approved. The power failure, for one aspect of thinking about a power failure and having sump pumps not be able to operate, and then that clear water welling up around the foundation, finding its way in between the floor and the wall, and then filling up to equalize pressure and finding its way into the sanitary system. That clear water entering into the system takes up the capacity and is a detriment to the operation of it. In the event of a power failure, if there were backup generators, then that system could potentially operate more reliably, where a private property owner would have a backup generator for their sump pump. If the sump pump is going into a storm pipe and that storm pipe is running full, that sump pump, as Tim explained, will probably lose. Discharging sump pumps at grade to the yard to allow the water to disperse and infiltrate, even if there's the antecedent moisture conditions were really soggy, essentially, following the storm, the snowstorm, which didn't dry out. And then we had the 7 inches of rain over a week. Still having that sump pump discharge to the ground as opposed to discharging into a pipe that's flowing full is another option that's available in addition to a generator. Maintaining ponds, making sure ponds are being maintained
Doing
so
what they
that
should do.
so they're operating as designed, because they do fill up with sediment. That's another option. That pursuing that routine maintenance to make sure those ponds on private property in easements and as well as on public property to make sure that the system is working the way it's designed. Those are things that come to mind. Short of more green infrastructure projects, reducing impervious area. So
A lot of that. Here.
yeah, the roads are an impervious area. And when
But we
that's
have a lot of green space.
a lot
in
of green
Germantown.
space too, yes, yes. So those are some
Yeah.
ideas.
So there is no magic wand is what I'm hearing. Anybody else want to weigh in on this? No? You have to come up to the microphone, I'm sorry, but I don't think we really have an answer of how you move forward as a homeowner.
Claim,
Pardon?
filing a claim. Should I say?
Well,
Yeah,
Do you have any
if
suggestions?
there's damage that's incurred, a claim can be filed with the clerk's office. So
I don't know how far that'll get though,
yeah,
because we're.
if
new
there's
to
a
the
if there's a
county.
claim for damage, then
Yeah.
that's an option that's available.
Yeah, and I don't want to hold out hope on that. But go ahead, sir. Your
Good
name?
evening. My name is Tom Willard. I'm at N106 W17355 Wildflower Lane. Bob came by to stop, I think was a couple days after the flood, and I appreciate you doing that. And this is a hard evening for you as well as us. One of the questions that we had, and my wife already brought it up, was the fact that it was actually at 6:48, because I took a picture of the gentleman cleaning off the drains the day after the flood. And then they notified that person. And again, we saw the trucks and it was 7:30 something. I'll have to look at the videotape that the suction and everything just disappeared. And it was suction. It wasn't just drainage. It was suction. And that lasted for a while. Is that public records to see who came in and turned what on or what happened at that time? That's an easy thing for us to look at within that hour. That's the first thing I'm asking. I don't know if that's public or not.
You said you have a picture or something of the
Well,
person?
when the suction and everything. was
No, I
coming
mean
in.
the person. You talked to the
Oh,
person? you
no, I
said?
didn't talk.
Okay.
The person, the waterworks people, at 6:48, they were cleaning the top of the drains.
Yeah.
Everyone was coming out in the neighborhood on Wildflower Lane, talking about that, and then they approached him.
We would certainly know who's working that evening because it was everybody and
So
we
it was
could,
in the morning.
yeah.
6:48 in the morning.
or that morning, we could certainly
Yeah, we
find
were
that
fully
out.
Staffed, we
Yeah.
had people out village-wide clearing off storm.
We just want to know also, why did that suction come on so strong at that time? As if somebody flipped a switch, the way my wife alluded to.
That was the antecedent conditions from the night prior. We continued to pump all night long at all lift stations, just like we normally do,
Okay.
right? We were at maximum capacity. Okay, the system got to a point where we were catching up, if you will. All right, there was less coming in, we were getting more out, and it was just that time of the day when everything just started to come back to normal, if you will. There's no magic switch. Trust me, there were 2 pumps running all night long, because that's the
Okay.
maximum
And that's all
capacity.
public record, right? That we could
Absolutely.
have okay. That was, second thing is that we are now gray boxed. Have you ever heard of that term? We just found out that term. So for us to get sewage backup insurance, zero opportunity. Zero.
Mhm.
We don't know what to do. So when we look at what we pay on a quarterly basis for water and sewage, why should we continue to pay that anymore?
Mhm.
I've lived here 22 years. If you break out what the sewage is, we pay that quarterly. It's over $8,000. We need to find some we need to figure out how you're going to rectify this. Either you help us pay for either the check valve or we do something, we don't have to pay for water and sewage anymore. It's a 1 in 150,000 odds. I double checked that. You're absolutely right to have these storms come back to back. But insurances don't look like that. They're going to say, sorry,
Mhm.
we cannot get that insurance now. We've lost over $110,000, $17,898.32 of personal items.
That's crazy. Yeah.
I just want you to feel our pain. And I thank you for listening to us and doing everything you can, but we don't have an answer and we're begging you to come up with one, please. Or we have to figure out other ways and other means to get the money.
Mhm.
The other concern that we have is that now we're finding out that what happens if there's more building going on? How are we going to be able to handle all the extra flow of sewage and any water coming from the buildings that will be going up? There was a proposal supposedly off Lilac. We don't want anything near us anymore. Will that impact us? So all these things really have to play a role so we can figure out what are we going to do?
Do we have any comments on how the new construction affects? Because our sewers are sized correctly and approved for the correct sizing that we have for any development going on. The problem is when you get all that rainwater coming in, right? Am I learning something tonight here? Is that?
Root cause, the source with the backwaters. The question about the root cause and the source, going back to the clear water entering into the system due to various locations and factors, that takes time to drain it out. And it sounds like you observed the point where that static water level drained down in your structure.
Actually, the whole neighborhood.
So whether or not a backflow preventer could work in a situation like that to keep the water out from the system being higher than the elevation of your building sewer lateral, that's an option that's available to you. Granted, you wouldn't want to run, it's the every drop counts thought that during rain events, that especially when it's forecasted for severe rain events, conserve your water consumption on your daily appliances, for dishes, for laundry, for showers, and your bathroom facilities. Because if you, in the event you have a backwater prevention valve, you would be running up against and you would be filling that up. So that is an option that's available, is a backflow prevention valve that you could have a plumber install.
Would that work under severe conditions like this?
They are a tool. They can prevent large dollar amount damages to homes. However, there is an educational component that goes with them. They are a maintenance device. You have to pull them apart and clean them because they get fouled with lint and hair and whatever. And if you don't maintain them, they don't work. The other thing is, when you have an extreme rain event, you can't live life as normal or you'll end up drowning yourself because it can't get out. And in the event we just recently had, your sump pump is going to be your worst enemy, because if it can't get the water out of your sump crock, it's going to inundate your floor drain. And if you've got a backwater valve, your floor drain is not going to work. You're going to fill your basement up with sump pump crock water.
Terry,
So
thank you,
it's-
Tim. I don't know what else to add.
Yeah.
Terry, Terry. So you did raise a good question, and I've gotten this from some other residents about the new developments, the new buildings coming in. Will that just exacerbate the problem that we're having? Now, I'm sure we're designing these things prudently. We do forecasts as far as population forecasts, and your sewers are sized based upon that. You know how much flow is contributed by each building in that. And I've said, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, that everything is sized not only for the current amount of housing that we have, but the future housing that is anticipated. So it's I understand how you could kind of do the math and think, well, if we got a problem now with the existing amount of homes, it's going to get worse if we add more homes. But that's not the case. We're designed for that.
Out and you get the back, remember, especially if it's north of us, right?
Mhm.
Because that's gonna come down us. And I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, no, but
Also,
I
the
mean-
report last month said we weren't at that right capacity. The last report in May, last year, sorry. That report said that we were short by 2,000 some gallons per minute at that station and about 1,700 from the station down there. So we are scared to death.
Yeah,
That
understandable.
report, we all read it. We don't know what to do with it now.
Tim, maybe you can expand on that
Yeah,
report,
so-
because I've heard that a couple times.
So the report you're referring to is the facilities plan that is currently in front of Sewer PAC and Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources for approval. In today's condition at those pump stations, if we were at maximum build out, which means Richfield was coming on and Richfield was at build out and everything in the county line corridor out to Landon Road was full, right? It's looking at the capacity of those upstream lift stations and saying we're over capacity. We're still within capacity today, but it's looking at that snapshot into the future because you want to have the capacity built prior to those build outs occurring. You don't want to be in a deficit capacity, right? So we're still within, we still have plenty of capacity in all of our pump stations present day, which is why we're going through the current design and the updated facilities plan for Main Street and Old Farm to increase capacity at both of those stations for future build out.
But the report seemed to make it seem like it was important to get the RFPs, start the work.
It is.
Already starting the work.
It is because these type of infrastructure improvement projects, they're not built overnight.
Oh, I agree.
And it's going to be a $15 million capital improvement program to upgrade the capacities of our two largest pump stations.
Yeah.
But it's going to give the capacity back to the village for what the village envisions for the next 25 years.
Will that ever help this situation at all?
It will, because in the immediate, it's going to give us extra capacity that's not used right now. So you're going to have a period of time between this build out and the next build out where you're going to have excess capacity, right? So when you get these extreme rain events, you're going to better be able to convey the clear water, which technically you shouldn't be conveying anyhow because it shouldn't be there. But in these extreme rain events, the storm sewer and the sanitary crosses over into one another and creates these.
See, now this sounds like a solution, right? Or no?
Well, the clarification though is that we never had to bypass pump with the April storms. The existing lift stations were able to keep up. So you could put a lift station there at twice the capacity, and the point is, it's still going to keep up. Our existing infrastructure kept up. So it wasn't an undersized lift station or pumps that created the problem.
It was the intensity of the rainfall filling everything in an immediate nature. It happened so fast that there was nowhere else for this water to go. And it, unfortunately, when you look at the topography of the village and the sewer system, Willowwood subdivision is one of those low points. Just like Whitetail Run and Meadow Creek Crossing is one of those low points in the system where when perfect conditions happen, August and April, boom, all that water just ends up right there in those low points immediately.
Well, again, it's not the answer we're looking for. And I appreciate you answering these questions, but I'm asking you to think out of the box too.
Had we known earlier in the evening of what was happening in your basements, operationally, we probably would have initiated a sanitary sewer overflow. But we did not know until 8 o'clock the following morning.
Well, you were watching How many were in their basement that night because of the tornadoes? I mean, we were all in our basements because of the tornadoes and it was announced. So I guess if there's a snowstorm coming, people are prepared to do the snow plowing. They're always on call. I'm not expecting that, but
We had people in by 7:15 PM that night.
it was pouring buckets, right? So then how come it wasn't caught? So you just said something that was so important that everybody's on call. How come it wasn't caught then? That's all we want to know.
Because we're not in your private home. We don't know what's happening in your basement without somebody letting the village know, hey, this is going on. People call 911.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
For-
So that's after the fact. We were trying to figure out how to prevent this going forward. Sorry, Tim. I mean, that's after the fact, right? Once the water's in, we're SOL.
Right,
We're
but-
back to cleaning.
But if we know, if we're notified when it's first starting to happen, we can do different things to move more water, but we're not just gonna set up a sanitary sewer overflow for the sake of setting one up, because it's a whole ramification with EPA and DNR and everybody else.
Well,
Yeah.
everyone
But-
here,
Can
who
I
have a
offer a
health
scenario?
problem child, all face those same conditions automatically.
Could-
Some actually take care of
Sir,
children in their home.
Kevin?
So
Could I, could I offer an idea that similar to how the sanitary system wasn't working properly because of the hydraulic head that we've established, that could be compared to potentially a blockage in a pipe. When we get a backwater complaint, staff responds and goes and checks the upstream and downstream manhole to see if the structures are flowing freely. In the event the structures are not flowing freely, then crews can mobilize depending on the situation. In the event of a situation that's causing severe backwaters, trash pumps could be mobilized into a sanitary manhole and bypassed. It's a non-compliant event that would be reported to the DNR, and then adjacent water utilities and municipalities would need to be notified. But that's one way to keep surcharged water levels out of dwellings when it's in the collection system. But it's the ability to know when a backwater is occurring, so Department of Public Works staff can respond in a timely manner. So I'm not sure of the timing of the reporting and the response. But I
What
think
I'm
that's
hearing
one
is-
factor of coordination that could.
Correct me if I'm wrong, what I'm hearing is from both of you, is that this is not something we could say, big storm coming, let's open up the gates and put all the sewage in the river or whatever. We can't do
Correct.
that.
There's
We
not a,
can't
there's
do
not a deep tunnel to
No.
store all the
And even if you
rainwater.
overflow, there are ramifications. We have to have an absolute reason for that overflow, or we're going to be fined.
okay, what's the fine?
I have no idea.
Well, just guess. What is it? 100,000? Because I can guarantee you, all of us had at least 6,000 each time just to have the cleanup. And we can do the math, and I bet you have over $450,000. Yes. So there's a trade-off for the people who pay the taxes, pay their bills on time versus the fine that the city has. I understand what you're saying. I believe in the EPA, the DNR, but we're trying to protect ourselves. And the trade-off is you don't want to pay the fine for the EPA because of that.
No, we just can't do it. It's not right. Can we check with the EPA and DNR with this situation and see what they would say? Or is there no point to that?
It's
Like if we decided to just start overflowing?
it's in the past, so they're not gonna give it any relevance because it's
I mean,
occurred.
we can't talk to them about this and say, we have a reoccurring issue here. EPA, DNR, whomever.
But they're gonna come back to us and say it was an extreme rain event. It-
And
But, there-
that's-
but
that's
can we
what
come up, can we share that?
basements. All we're saying
Excuse
is
me.
maybe
Hey,
somebody
I'm
can
sorry,
get
sir.
involved.
I'm talking right
I
now.
But did you,
apologize.
okay, so when did you notice it in your basement?
What was it, 6 in the morning? The Shannons found out at 1. We found out when we woke up. We went upstairs after the tornado, was the last tornado warning, 9:30 or something?
2:30?
Did you do anything? Did you call 911? Did you call the non-emergency phone numbers? Who did?
That's exactly what they said.
That's not good. This is a police problem, I think.
Communication problem.
Yeah.
Did that phone call, do you know if it went to Washington County Dispatch?
They all know? Yeah.
Or was it Answering Innovations, which is our 24-hour answering service?
It sounds like it is a communication problem.
So-
All of our calls answered in Washington County pretty much right now.
Yes,
Yeah.
Washington County is our
Not a
dispatch.
CB answered in Washington County.
So at 6 PM, if residents call 262-253-7780, which is the old police non-emergency phone number, between 6 AM and 6 PM, somebody at Germantown Police Station should be answering that phone. At 6 PM, a switch gets flipped, supposed to, and those phone calls are supposed to be transferred to Answering Innovations and Washington County Dispatch. And if somebody at Washington County Dispatch said, sorry, there's nothing we can do about it, that is not a correct answer.
That's a problem that we have to look into.
Because there are police officers in this village 24/7, 365, and Washington County Dispatch has the phone number of every supervisor on duty for the Germantown Police Department. And every Germantown supervisor has my personal cell phone number as well as the personal cell phone numbers of all the other 3 superintendents as well. So if we would have gotten that phone call, action would have been taken. So I will be looking into this first thing with what went wrong with those phone calls.
Sir, your name?
It's Paul Spitz, N106W170. We have lived there. I don't know.
Isn't it supposed to be?
It's supposed to be off. Yeah, as long as the red light's gone, you're on.
Oh, the red light.
We lived at our home for 30 years. Right, since 1990. Yeah, 30, I said over 30, 36 years. I can answer a couple questions for you. I didn't know I was going to have to go through all of this tonight. Because I'll be honest, I came here for the Public Works meeting a few weeks back and I left thinking you guys were serious. This is hogwash. In 2008, the area received over 30 inches of rain. In 2019, over 45 inches of rain was recorded over a period of time. In 2020, over 41 inches of rain were recorded. We never had a drop of water. What has changed? Over 200 plus homes in Lone Oaks, 100 homes in Meadow Creek Crossing, 35 homes at Heritage Park North, the complete care of the new day assisted living facilities off Division Road. They've now got a proposed Carillon 36 unit family development plan for the 10-acre parcel at Faith Lutheran Church. And then I also understand some additional construction on Lilac Road. That is what has changed over the 36 years that we've been here. This system is not set up to accommodate it. I listened to what you shared a few weeks back. You've got your phase 1 and your phase 2 for Division Road. Your phase 2 includes significant upgrades to the Old Farm lift station. This is an emergency. This is not a wish list. This is not a should have, like to have. This is an emergency situation. That phase 2 needs to be phased now. And that lift station needs to be upgraded. We cannot live like this. You talk about PTSD. Now I have to worry about 2 blocks from me, neighbors, power outage affecting my house. My power did not go out. I had, last August was the first time I ever had water in my basement. Until again, April 14th or whatever it is. I never had a drop of water in that basement. What has changed? All of this development and our systems cannot handle it. Please.
Thank you for your
take
comments.
care of this.
Anybody else, please, would like to come up?
Randy Ruskowski, I'm at Juniper Drive 2, North 106, West 17113 Juniper Drive. So, you know, without rehashing what you've heard, this is an engineering problem. This is something that the village has to acknowledge can be solved with engineering. To say it's a weather thing is, you know, as you've heard, feels like a cop-out. It's like, yeah, it's easy and an easy out to say, okay, but I've been here for 36 years as well. And as you've heard from several other residents here, I've seen, and we have the waterway right behind us. I've seen the way that looks firsthand. And the facts are, because I've lived there, that has been much, much higher for extended periods of time. So it's taken a lot bigger capacity in past years, and we haven't had sewer backups at all. So as you've also heard, there's been, it seems to be a capacity issue. There's more being added into the system. It doesn't have the excess capacity for different events that happen. And when you see people talking about like a couple feet of water, that's a big backflow into, it's not just a little bit came out of the drain for it. So it seems to be very much an engineering thing that can be solved. Also mentioned too, we know so we want the village to acknowledge this. You have a lot of residents where you've had multiple events in short periods of time. That seems to be something that needs your attention. We pay the taxes for it. You've heard that as well. To say, you know, well, you know, it's at capacity and, you know, this is one of these events that doesn't seem like a major service in a community like Germantown to not say, look, we're gonna look at some options, what we can do. Or, as Paul mentioned, is there are some things planned, prioritize it because it will happen again. And guess what? We're going to have everyone back in here again and a lot more news media in here too, as well. So it seems like something that needs priority and we're asking you to acknowledge it needs that priority. Last thing I want to mention, because I see a lot of these facts, right? And like I said, you know, the facts are, you know, from what I've observed, are very different. I've shared some of that, but I wanted to also say that no one was running washing machines in the middle of the night or that morning, or running water from this or flushing their toilets. They were busy in their basement, pumping stuff out onto the lawns, which goes out into the natural resources as well. So we weren't getting backflow because of running things and appliances. I don't know where that information came from or who gave it to you, but I can assure you, everyone I've talked to was not doing any of that, causing any backflow. And it was raw sewage coming in from external from the house. But I guess what I'm asking for is acknowledge this problem, give us some solutions, take time to try to come up. I think we've heard some things, but no one yet saying, yes, we're willing to take some action on that or look at it further. We need you to do that.
You know, thank you for your comments. And one thing that you did say, I think what we can do is talk to our surrounding communities that have the same issue. Like what did Tosa do? They had the same problems both times. What did Menominee Falls do? This is not just Germantown. But let's see what they did and what maybe they're trying to do, because I'm sure they have residents at their public works meetings, you know, saying the same thing. Maybe we can be kind of collaboratively put our heads together and come up with something. I don't know. But you know, you can't, I think we did hear that even if we resize the pipes, they're adequate for now, this same thing would have happened because of this perfect storm with the electric being out and the rain and we have two engineers here who are certainly not going to lie to you. But I think let's see what other communities are doing. Maybe somebody has a
And that-
magic wand
I guess.
and
along-
we can learn from that. I don't know. We could
Yeah.
try.
I guess along with that, we asked, prioritize that work.
To
Try
be-
to bring it forward. I know plans have been put in place to do it a certain way or certain capacity, but relook at that and bring that back on the table.
We can look at that too. Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
It's something we can do. Anybody else would like to talk? Pardon me? Oh, we can, do we have a microphone that we could get down there or don't we have that anymore?
Hello, my name is Jeff Persky. I live at W173 N10727 Willowwood Drive. And I've listened to everything that you've all had to say. I heard you tell one gentleman that in his neighborhood, the service drain was probably his because of rules that were in place when they built the houses there. So I want to ask this question. When was the pump house built on Old Farm Road? Is that going by old structure rules? How many? 40? So it's probably using old methods of infrastructure. Would that be proper, Bob? Oh, okay.
What, could you,
1986.
yeah,
So maybe it's too old now. You're using old rules.
would age have anything to do with?
No, because we've done upgrades.
It's been
throughout the years.
upgraded numerous
You've
times.
increased the capacity?
We haven't increased capacity, but we've upgraded the equipment in there to modernize the technology.
Well, it's a capacity problem.
But it's not, is it, Tim? Didn't we just go through that?
Not a capacity issue.
We have the capacity.
Okay.
That's what we covered
One of the
earlier.
other gentleman said all of a sudden in the morning, it went down in his basement.
We covered that too. You want to
And I
repeat
don't know
what?
that you did. Because I saw a pump outside the pump house pumping it into the field.
It was not pumping into the field. They
Yes,
never-
it was. I saw it. I lived down there. I saw it. And the whole field was all stained afterwards. Yes, it was being pumped into the field next door towards the ponds. So I'm gonna guess maybe that's why it went down so fast. The other thing is I think you're using old data. You keep coming up with this 100-year storm thing. Well, guess what? Things have changed in the last 20 years. 100-year storms are happening every
They are.
15
The
years.
weather has changed, for sure.
And we haven't taken that into account.
Well, we'll do what we can.
I mean, how old is that data?
How old is what?
Probably from 86, the 100-year storms, which we've had two of.
We don't make that up. I'm not sure who does.
The National Weather Service and the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration have the rain gauge data where they do the statistical regressions. So it's based on previous data. And the USGS will issue like a Bulletin 71 or Atlas 14 periodically based on the records of the data. So as there's more storm data for with more intensity, then those statistical regression analysis get modified. So for a 6-inch rainfall over a 24-hour period, that could commonly have been identified as a 100-year storm event. It varies between the rainfall depth and the duration. So those are references of where the statistical rainfall methods and the reoccurrence intervals are identified.
Okay.
So that's what we're referencing. The municipality does not undertake those statistical regression analysis.
I don't know how old they are, though. Do you? When was the last time it was done?
When was the last time the USGS did a regression analysis for? I would have to look into that and get back to you.
Because Germantown's not the only ones getting all these storms. It's all
Right.
over the country. And I think everybody needs to start taking that into effect. I mean, what we had enough capacity for, that's not true anymore. It's like the gentleman said, you've built all these new apartments up on Division Road. That comes down to this pump house. When the apartments are built at Blackstone Golf Course and the church and Lilac, where's all that crap gonna go? The same pump house that can't keep up now? Does
Okay,
anybody know?
thank you for your comments. Do you have any comment on that, Tim?
I
or
got
just-
the thing here.
Yeah.
We talk about people calling you when the storm and their basements were flooding. I heard from several of my neighbors, they called and the person said, the phone's busy, we'll call you back, and they never got called back. That happen to anybody here?
Mhm. Okay, well, thank you for that. So far, what we have is looking at the drainage ditches, okay? See what's public-private. Let's talk to our surrounding communities, because we all have this issue. I mean, we're not alone here. Let's see what Tosa's doing. Let's see what the falls are doing. Let's talk to these public works people and see if there's any, like I say, magic wand or what they are doing, how they're responding. And we will take a look at the pump station that we have planned for the future. Knowing we're sized perfectly well for now, but we'll look at for the future with all these weather changes and just see what that might cost. We might as well take a look at it. So we have some proactive things we could do. And anybody that wants information on that back valve thing you're talking about, that to prevent the water from coming in, where it has to be maintained? If anybody needs information on that, I'm sure we can give them information, correct? Or what to ask for from their plumber. So it's something. Yes.
Okay, Melanie Smythe, N140W17938 Cedar Lane. Okay, so I think what you're suggesting is a hydraulic study for the areas that have been affected. And I think that's a good start. I think that there should be a waterways, entire system for storm study of the village, or certainly the areas that are on the sewer and storm systems, not necessarily in the outlying areas. So I do think that that's something that should be done, and it should be done in order to help inform the Plan Commission, especially after the lift stations are done, because that kind of information doesn't get looked at very often, to Bob's point. I mean, it comes up in the fences, but we don't truly know how much all those big warehouse roofs, all those big parking lots, all those other things, besides the development for housing, is adding to the flow of water into the rivers. And that's something that also needs to be looked at. I don't believe that you can't go as a village to property owners and work with them to clear up riverways on their property of debris. I don't buy that for an instance.
It's private property. I don't know. We can't
You can go and talk to them.
get volunteers.
Yeah, I mean, there's such a thing as the river keeper. They do all of the cleanup for the rivers down closer to Milwaukee. I mean, it might be a great thing to start. Prior standards might need to be looked at to be understood what needs to be upgraded as part of the hydraulic study. And I do think there is something that you could do today in some of the houses here. There's certain water monitoring alerts that you can get. They happen in pumps all the time in low-lying areas that are surrounded by dikes or levees in other parts of the country. And you could possibly work with these people to install in the right appropriate place alarms that go back to your offices that show, oh, we're getting levels of water higher than such and such. I'm sure something can be done that way. There could be a pit that's built that's outside in a yard. I think that's one of the suggestions or one of the ideas that the comments that people were talking about, thinking out of the box. But maybe there's different ways of taking care of the immediate non-communication problem, because there is a horrible communication problem within this village. There is nobody in the police building after 7 o'clock. I go over to meetings over there in the other annex, the only people who are in the buildings are the detectives, and they're in the other side. So they don't answer the phone.
It goes to
It's-
Washington County, I think. no?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Washington County, and we don't even know what numbers. I mean, how would we know what number to call? We don't. I mean, it's just truly abysmal, honestly. Communications, that's your thing. And so I wonder how the FEMA maps that have recently been released are part of this, if anything, would they probably don't have the most recent information from August, because it takes the federal government to do anything years and years and years. But would there be something that we need to look at in terms of this FEMA map is not correct as part of the hydraulic study because of the examples of what happened here? And it's just a question. I don't know. It may be the wrong avenue. But I do think that there's plenty that this village can do. And we love ordering studies from consultants. Let's do another one.
Okay, thank you for your comments to be taken into consideration. Anybody else? I don't know that we're going to have any more answers for you tonight, but what I already covered, communication is big. We're going to find out what's happening with the police station and with Washington County. So at least if something does happen, we catch it more quickly and can bypass. We have the looking into the drainage, private versus public. We have taking a look at, is it possible to upsize, or do we need to for the future with our new pump station as we look at that? What did I miss? There was a fourth one. Pardon me?
Maybe reprioritize it. Bring that forward.
Oh, the pump station you're thinking? Yeah.
The pump station upgrade is in queue. It's in design phase right now. So we're looking to have bid spec and construction documents by September so that we can bid in early December for that work.
Which means the earliest any work could be done would be 2027,
Mhm.
late 2027. Almost there.
But we will, Jan, go ahead. You want- Correct.
Yes.
Wait.
So first phase of Division Road is from Mequon Road to the Jefferson Ditch Bridge. And the reason for that is part of the rehabilitation of Old Farm is to put in a dual parallel force main system. So we have to run 2 brand new pipes from that station through the road right away. Want to get that work done prior to doing the south leg of Division Road, so that we're not tearing up brand new road to put in pipes. So that's why the timing is set up that we're getting our work done next spring on those pipelines. And then the road program is going to kick in 2027 to do Division Road from the bridge to county line. So that's why that's staggered like that.
Okay. Go ahead.
I just wanted to make a comment. Someone asked that we feel your pain. And I just want to share that I do feel your pain. In August of last year, I lost 500 chickens and turkeys that drowned in the floodwaters on my farm. This year, in April, I had 5 to 8 inches of water in my barns 3 days in a row. Menominee River runs through my farm. It's 300 yards from the barn. And in flood events like this, it always overflows. It has overflowed more in the last 6 months than I've ever seen in my life. And I haven't lived in the village for 68 years, but I was born and raised and grew up here in the village on the farm. And so I do feel your pain. I have experienced loss. And so as someone who is on this committee and is asked to respond to you, I want you to know that I too have lost things in the floods, and is something that is important to me as it is to you. I just want you to know that I am empathetic and that I also am a fellow sufferer from these water events. And they are getting worse. So just know that for whatever it is.
Thank you. Jan?
I'd like to basically echo what trustee Stout said. I do feel your pain. I can't even imagine. I had a little water in my basement in August, but the neighbors around me, they they lost their whole basements, and the whole street was filled with basements. And we were fortunate that the Germantown DPW came by and picked it up and took it away. But it looked like a little war zone. And I remember one of the flooding issues that we had. I don't remember the date, but off of Pilgrim Road in a subdivision that is just west of Pilgrim Road, it was flooded so badly, they all lost their basements as well. And some of the basements caved in. There was a Red Cross truck there to help people out. People were out of their homes, had to be out of their homes. So, I have lived in the village for 30 years. This is not the first event. The scariest event I thought was August. But when I literally was at the fire station for an event, August 14th or 15th or whatever the date was, and I was traveling back, and I went over two rivers, one that crossed Lilac Lane and one that was crossing Division Road. I know there's something wrong, and I feel like we need to get to the root cause. And you are not, I just feel that the suggestion for a hydraulic study, I hope I pronounced that correctly, the water is bigger than we are. The water is bigger than we are. And I don't think we actually know where it's going or if it's being blocked. It has a natural flow. And all of these subdivisions were made in farmers' fields. They had natural paths for water that went through their cornfields or whatever. I can still see them in our subdivision. So I do feel your pain. I'm going to follow up on this, make sure that we get some hydraulic studies as well as we better, I would just say, the plan is to do Main Street Phase 1 lift station and then go to Old Farms first. Pardon me. And that's good news. But I think that knowing that all of these things are occurring right within that area, we better make sure with the engineers that we've hired that, and they need to see these events, not just us, because they're the ones that are designing it. We have to, as taxpayers, and we're taxpayers too, have to foot the bill to get this done. And we're happy to upgrade it, but is it the right thing? This is the time to double check before we start digging. So that would be my action step. Let's double check. What does the carpenter always say? Measure twice, cut once. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan. Any other comments? Bob, anything? Okay. Well, I think we are going to move forward on this and we will keep you posted on what we can do on the 4 points that at least we talked about. And beyond that tonight, I don't know what else we can really offer you, but our sympathy for those of us who weren't flooded and empathy for those of us who were, such as our trustee here. So thank you for coming. And I'm sorry we can't do more tonight for you, but we're going to work on it.
One last question. What do we do if our basement again What do we do?
Make a phone call, right? We're gonna figure that out for you. And, I think we have to put some of this on the website too. That's part of the communication issue because you would make a phone call, but we have to make sure that phone call gets through to the right people right away. Because then we can do something more quickly. So, can you go on the internet? Can you go on computers and the website? As we get these answers, I think we should have a special section there, maybe where people can just click on for flood victims or whatever, and we can have information for you. And we'll work on that very quickly. Okay, but thank you all for coming. Yes.
That if someone trying to find someone in the. Yeah, some water.
That would be pretty tough, wouldn't it, Tim?
So we can take action.
It's an alternative that can be looked at. Are people willing to let village in to put village equipment in your home to monitor it?
I bet they are.
So we can look into a device called a water bug. It's a little micro switch, if you will, that goes on your basement floor and it senses water, and it's a open close switch. And it could dial out to our SCADA system and notify our people directly.
That sounds like a good idea. Can we test something like that? Or we don't have to. I guess we can just install them, see what the cost is and. So watch the website, probably not this week, okay? Give us a chance to do some research on all of this and we will do what we can. Okay, thank you for coming tonight. Yeah.
So many of those old green ash trees that are falling into the.
Yeah.
That's blocking up a lot of it.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you for that. Okay. Okay, we're going to move on to D, acceptance of, do you want to give us a motion here, Bob?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to combine items D as in Delta to J as in Juno, because they are all the same approvals.
I'll second. Can we vote? All in
Wait,
favor?
Wait. Oh, don't we get?
You could talk,
questions?
yeah, we have.
If you
there's
got
just a-
questions, I can answer.
Just a motion to combine.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Now, we'll start, whatever questions you have on anything from A to J.
Why are these related?
This was past projects that the water utility was involved with. So we haven't brought these before the committee for being memorialized. It actually helps in our PSC audit just to do a thumbprint stamp on when these projects were done. It also acknowledges when the warranty starts. Some of these are behind the date range, but we just got them packaged up now for this meeting.
Yeah, I noticed these were past dates.
Yeah.
It's basically
Housekeeping.
committee approved these projects. Committee needs to accept the project so that we can close the project files
Okay,
in an orderly fashion.
I'll
So
accept
that's
that.
what they are. That's just a housekeeping issue.
Okay.
Motion.
Make a motion to approve these items, the acceptance of these items,
T through.
as stated before.
Second.
Discussion? None? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank
Paul.
you.
Moving on to K, consideration of credit policy for utility billing.
So,
Oh,
Excuse me. Excuse me, could you?
so we can finish our meeting? Excuse me,
He's gonna get.
would you guys talk in the hallway so we can finish our meeting? Say, thank you. No, we got a whole bunch.
You're all done.
Thanks for coming.
Okay, back to K, consideration of credit policy for utility billing.
So what we're bringing before you tonight is to consider a credit policy. Residential unforeseen large size leaks occur from time to time, creating numerous calls and requests for corrective action by the utility. So for discussion and possible approval, based on what you think tonight, I did craft a policy draft in front of you. Not sure how much everyone's read this, but there are options. I'll just read some of the bullet points. Bill the account as currently issued, the water bill, or we are required by the PSC code 185.35 to issue a DPA, a deferred payment agreement, which we have done in the past when these bills are very significant. Or adjust the bill to reflect only the cost of the water, excluding operating and asset-related costs. It wouldn't be applicable for commercial, industrial, institutional users, and the utility reserves the right to revert to issue any of the four options. So I did run this by the Public Service Commission just to get their comments on it. They were okay with what we were proposing. And the cost of 273 certainly is just the cost of the water, less the infrastructure costs. But you as a committee, if you don't like that dollar amount, right now we pay, or we charge $4.35 per 1,000 gallons. So this is what came out as just the cost for the water, but if you don't like that cost and want to recoup more because people may not be paying attention to what happens in their home, it can be a different dollar amount.
I have a question, Paul. How does this affect, like, they have to pay the sewer, right?
Well, yes,
Because
but
it goes down the drain.
correct, not always though. We've had some events where somebody's sprinkler system blows apart.
Okay.
They were gone out of the country and it just ran and ran and ran. So those would be credited, gone through the sewer utility for approval for that.
So if it is still down the drain,
Down the drain, correct.
we still do it the old
Yes.
way where we capture the sewer costs?
We
'cause we're all
still,
paying for it.
get, the sewer utility
Okay.
still recoups their fees, yes.
Comments, motion.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve, but I had two questions.
I'll second.
Okay. So Paul, this only applies to these rare instances where there's a failure in their system, right?
Correct.
So that's pretty infrequent.
It is, but unfortunately, this last quarter, second quarter, 3 of them came across our desk.
Okay.
One was for $3,000. It was a water softener and they admitted to it. So they were very amicable. They just want to know what to pay. And I said, well, in the past, Trustee Kaminsky, I'm sure you remember when Larry Ratajczak was here, there was how many coming before you? And another one was $4,000. He was out of the state or out of the country for a couple of weeks. Wasn't aware until Q3 read came in. All of a sudden, he was notified that his bill is going to be very high. That was $4,000. Another one ended up to be $10,000.
Oh my God, how long was he gone?
Something
Took the World Cruise.
blew apart. We do what's called a data log for folks on our radio read meters. It's a graph that we can tell and show these people. So we can memorialize and show a graphical reference of what went through their meter. He's not happy either. So
So
I-
it's, if I could just interrupt. So I read through this and knowing there were 22 items to get through, I didn't take the time to read real detail. But this is, if it's found out that it's their fault, do you go back and bill them the entire amount then?
Currently, yes.
Okay.
We do the whole.
We do,
4,000?
absolutely. Yeah, it's a battle for sure. And I feel for them, but it's almost putting the utility on the hook because their plumbing failed.
But they didn't know.
Correct.
Yeah, 90%
Correct.
your toilet's running and you go out of the country for a month. or
And that's a
something.
great point, Trustee Kaminsky, because that's a big one that
You don't even
people
know
lose.
it. I
They
wouldn't know it.
They don't. And water softeners blow apart.
Yeah.
Those are some big ones. Hydronic heat sprinkler systems.
So this is a way to get some money while this is in dispute.
Correct. It's kind of a good gesture, olive branch, if you would. They encourage, actually, the PSC encourages the utility to offer this, and it can run in concurrence with the DPA. So, if people don't have $5,000 sitting in the bank.
Sure.
They can get a deferred amount and then go on a payment plan
Okay.
if you guys
I-
decide that.
I trust you as far as 273 per thousand.
If that's
I
what you
trust
like,
you.
it can go anywhere.
Know what it should be.
It
Yeah,
can-
I don't
it
know
can-
what
whatever.
else.
If that's what you want, certainly.
72.
I think we trust your judgment on that, Paul.
Okay.
Then, wasn't there a real technical formula? Is that how you got this 273?
Actually, the PSC did that for us.
Oh, that's lovely.
They went through our rate case and it's not me. That was some
Oh, okay.
bookkeeper
I thought- I
person when
was
they did
really
the rate
impressed
case.
if that
and
was
they-
you.
They pulled the asset amounts out and then this is what the dollar amount was
Okay, 273 per thousand.
per thousand, correct?
I have a motion. You want to make?
Yeah, didn't you motion? Did you motion?
Yeah, we did. We have. a
Wait.
motion.
Because we're talking and asking questions. Yeah.
Then-
So that's all I have anymore.
Randy said we had a motion. so we-
Any other questions? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Thank you.
My gosh, we're all the way up to L.
Woohoo.
We're not, are we halfway? No, not quite.
No.
Appraisal payments for Division Road Phase 1 Road Construction Project.
Stay raised.
Oh, this is, I forgot about this one. Yeah, you just go. Oh, seriously. You'll be back. We'll talk real slow. And here for the vote.
All right. Good evening, trustees. This item before you is regarding the Division Road project and establishing a 33-foot right-of-way and land easements for grading and drainage work on the Division Road project. The village hired Southern Wisconsin Appraisals to complete the work, and the appraised fees were summarized in the staff memo. And staff is requesting that Public Works and Highway Committee endorse the payments for the approvals. I believe it may not require village board approval, given the monetary amount, but staff's bringing this forward for transparency.
As, do the property owners have an opportunity to do their own appraisal and challenge these numbers?
The property owners were, they had the appraisals transmitted certified mail.
So they still may challenge it, which could.
That's
delay
possible, but I guess what I'm looking for is authorization in the
this
event
dollar amount.
for this dollar amount. In the event they agree to it, then we can get it notarized and then it's
Okay.
on the books.
What's the dollar amount?
The dollar amounts vary
Right.
for
but
the 5
total-
different parcels. The total is 8,700.
That's what I thought.
Make a
87.
motion to approve the appraisal amount of $8,700.
I'll second.
Want it to go to village board?
Uh,
You guys have spending authority up to $20,000.
We do. You need your mic on.
This has been, we know that we're doing this and
yeah.
so, and we're going to have to bring it back anyway when it's all approved. When the purchase is made, right? Then we'll let them know.
Yep. Are we moving on to the next item or taking a break?
Well, we,
taking a break.
we got to vote on
Oh,
it.
sorry.
Yeah, we thought we'd just wait. He comes back.
Yeah, we'll just wait.
I suppose we could vote, we just wouldn't be here. Go get vote.
Here we go.
We basically, what we do is basically are approving, are being asked to approve the cost of appraisal for the land on Division Road that we have to purchase in order to get Division Road done. And we're about to vote, we thought we'd wait for you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Hi.
Okay, moving on.
It was 8,700.
Moving on to.
M as in Mary.
All right, item M, this item before you is regarding the Division Road relocation order resolution. This follows public information meetings in 2024 and a number of updates in front of the Public Works Committee, Public Works and Highways Committee in 2025 and 2026, where we're looking to establish a more uniform right-of-way in the corridor, so it's consistent with the statutory highway easements. And a resolution is required for the relocation order to update the plat. And that plat is attached in the packet along with the resolution. So a resolution is required for updating the plat. So this plat update is consistent with the planned work to establish a uniform right-of-way that's based on statutory highway easement.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution for the Division Road Project relocation order.
I'll second.
Questions, comments? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And Pleasant View Drive relocation.
Similar to the previous item, this is another relocation order for a road program where the parcels, the parcel boundary goes and extends all the way to the center line of the road. And based on the statutory highway easement, there's a 33-foot right-of-way for the roadway easement. So what we're looking to do is just establish that on a plat as part of the project. So that way it's free and clear for the contractor to work in the area without having to require a temporary land easement outside of that area. So in order to do that, we have to file a relocation order with the county and have a resolution by the municipality for the plat and the relocation order. So that's what the item is in the packet, is the draft plat and the resolution for the relocation order, similar to the previous item that we just voted on. This project is for Pleasant View Drive between Freistadt and Lovers Lane. This is phase 3 of an agricultural road improvement program project where Pleasant View Drive was reconstructed from Lovers Lane up to Bonniewell, and then Rockfield Road was reconstructed from Pleasant View Drive all the way to Highway 145. So this is the third phase of that work, and it's scheduled for bid later this summer, and activity for construction may begin this fall with work anticipated for completion next spring of 2027.
Exceeded my motion limits. I've exceeded my motion limits.
I'll make, I'll make a motion to approve Division Road relocation order resolution.
Can we clarify?
I'm sorry, we're on N, sorry. Pleasant View Drive relocation order resolution. It's a motion.
My tractor down Pleasant View?
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be a nice smooth surface. There will be a detour when the culvert is being replaced.
You gotta turn your mic on. Mike,
Okay.
you gotta turn your mic on.
I can't second. No, sorry.
Any further discussion on this? Hearing none, vote all in favor?
Aye. Was this part of that ARIP?
Yes.
Yes. All right, thank you. I believe we're on to the next item O, award contract for road program, Heritage Hills reconstruction. This item before you follows the annual road program that was approved by the village board in December 2025. Village staff advertised bids publicly, and bids were summarized in the staff item, staff memo, and the lowest bidder was Stark. And the project includes pavement removal, full depth milling, catch basin replacement work, spot replacements of curb and gutter, and then driveway work that's incidental to the other work. So staff is requesting that the Public Works and Highway Committee recommend approval to the lowest bidder, lowest qualified bidder, Stark. The bid amount is presented, and the contingency of 10% has been identified as a allowance for staff to prevent having to do a change order. So staff is requesting a total amount of $655,291.
I'll make a motion to approve the award contract for the road program in regard to Heritage Hills reconstruction.
Good, thank you. And we have a motion, and a second. I have a question. Trustee Peeper contacted me. Did she contact you as well?
Yeah.
That's Heritage Hills?
That's Esquire
That's the
State.
next
the
one.
next one.
Okay, because I promised her I'd bring that up.
Okay,
Okay.
so I'm going to bring this up. Go ahead.
In regards to that point, I saw that email. And today I got a hold of both plan sets and went out on the field and I looked at the rationale and for curb and gutter removal. And based on my 44 years of experience, I thought the curb and gutter that was being removed was reasonable. Now, everybody can have their own little opinion, why that slab versus that one, but overall, it looked very reasonable to me in what we're leaving. And plus, we have a budget we're trying to adhere to. So
But,
for my professional opinion, it was acceptable to me. Thank you.
well, that was for Esquire?
Both of them.
Both,
I looked
okay.
at both. So I'm-
All right, thanks. Well, my question is, Heritage Hills is a younger subdivision than Windsong subdivision, but you're doing the roads then, and we have to wait till 2020. Good grief.
It's a living, breathing document, Jan, but this was all
20
approved already by the
right,
village board, so
20
this isn't changing.
2023.
Yeah.
I mean, no, 2031
So the 5-year road program
only.
is presented regularly every year in the fall as prior to well, as part of the budget process.
Right.
And the sooner we can get that road program in front of Public Works and Highways Committee,
Yeah, the
the
best.
sooner that we can start survey engineering and design, so we can get the plans out sooner.
Okay.
Where this year, December was when we got it approved and then we move forward with it. So it's a little later in the season. But yeah, it's in the 5-year budget. So it's already been these project areas were approved previously.
Right. Okay.
And it can change, I mean, if something changes, so you can bring it up again when we talk about it in fall for sure. But this is set in concrete at this point. Any further comments or questions? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Okay, moving on to what's P, Esquire Estates, same thing, reconstruction.
Yep, this item also follows annual road program approval. Payne and Dolan was the lowest qualified bidder. And staff is requesting that Public Works and Highway Committee recommend to the village board approval of a contract to Stark. Please note that the staff memo will need to be amended or corrected for the village board packet to reflect Payne and Dolan in the recommendation. With the 10% contingency for a total of $1,215,761.
Committee?
Make a motion to approve the lowest qualified bidder, Stark.
Payne and Dolan?
Pardon me?
No.
Payne and Dolan?
See, I shouldn't do this.
No, sorry about that. It's my fault.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, so.
There was an
there
error.
a typo. There's a typo.
Yes, that's correct. There was a typo
Okay.
in the recommendation section,
Yes,
where
that's
it
what I'm
says
reading.
Stark.
Can I try it again?
Yeah, it should be Payne and Dolan. Yes, please.
You may guess.
So make a recommendation to approve the lowest qualified bidder, Payne and Dolan, including a 10% contingency in the amount of, well, the contingency amount is 110,523 for a total of $1,215,761.
I'll second.
Questions on it?
Yeah.
Again.
So the Esquire was, I'm just rounding around the numbers, 1,000,001, something like that. And then the Heritage Hills was about $600. And these both combined are the 1.6 million for what we normally do for the road program.
That's correct. There was also some water items
Oh, yeah, that's
and,
what I wanted
and the
to know.
Kinderberg Park path items.
Yeah,
So,
is that allowed? Oh, because they're
yeah, it kind of makes it more efficient to get the work done when there's a
right
contractor
there.
that's mobilized, so we don't have to pay another mobilization fee. In addition, with the asphalt quantities,
Yeah.
the unit price for asphalt, is also much more competitive when there's a crew mobilizing in the area. So that's a benefit, to the village.
Smart. Okay, that makes sense. Kinderberg's right next to Heritage Hills.
Any further questions?
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Okay, award contract for engineering services, site plan reviews.
Yes, this item is before you to award a contract for consultant reviews of site plan applications to Harwood Engineering. Harwood Engineering had previously provided full service to the village of Germantown from 2019 to 2013 is what I had written here. But then when I talked to Brad today, he had mentioned it was actually back to 2017 he had done some work. And that was prior to the village engineer position being filled in October 2023. There's a table in the packet that shows the cost breakout from year to year. And on average, between 2019 and 2023, it was approximately $13,000 for the site plan reviews that would come to the community development. And there'd be the civil plans and the site structure plans and the grading plans and the driveway permits and all that sorts of stuff and the stormwater management plans. So Harwood Engineering would do those site review plans. So that's where I backed into the number for $15,000 authorization for Harwood Engineering to continue those site plan review services with respect to the upcoming vacancy.
Do we ever do any of this internally? Site plan reviews?
Well, yeah, so
When
that,
we had staff, obviously.
yeah, and
So
that's
we're
also,
setting ourselves up for needing this for sure.
Yeah, this is to backfill with
Right.
Kevin departing
Gotcha.
tonight.
yeah, so over the 2019 to 2023, it was about 12,000 on average. And then in 2024 and 2025, it was closer to 5,000. So there was like approximately $7,000 average savings with me reviewing the site plans and providing those comments to the plan
But we
commission.
can't do that anymore.
So I'm trying to help out and get someone to
Leaving.
plug the hole.
Appreciate that.
There's still time.
Still time. Kevin.
I'll make a motion to award the contract for, oops.
Harwood.
oops.
Harwood.
For Harwood Engineering Services site plan reviews, not to exceed $15,000.
I'll second. Bob?
Why Harwood? I saw what you wrote, but why Harwood? And would they be doing just site plans or would they be on call for any engineering issues in the village?
No, they've had a very good working relationship with community development director Retzloff, and it would be seamless.
I've really never seen their name appear in anything. That surprised me, Harwood.
Yeah.
Is it worth going out for other proposals?
No, they do it so
Yeah.
thorough and so cheap that it's
The-
two guys.
Okay.
They did actually, they were involved in the library.
Mhm.
They were the engineers for the Germantown Community Library.
Would they do anything else for us? Or do you think, we were talking about Rupert and Milky is for other areas? Do you have, Tim, do you have your stable full of this consultant will help me out with this?
We have, I think right now we have like 10. Right, consultants doing different stuff for the village. We got MSA doing some bridge stuff. We got Ari Smith doing Division Road.
Both and all
Yeah,
that good
both doing
stuff.
water stuff. We got Rupert and Milky doing the lift station stuff. We got Sigma coming in for
Okay.
inspection.
I'll let you manage that
SEH.
then. Okay.
It's,
Harwood just fills another niche for you.
yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
Is that village,
Really good at doing this plan review stuff.
okay. I'm sold.
is that village projects or residential, industrial, commercial?
More industrial, commercial site developments where there might be a new warehouse or a new building with a parking lot, and when it's over half an acre, then there's a new pond that's required to reduce the 100-year flow down to a 10-year flow. And then the sanitary and water connections are part of those site plan reviews and erosion control. So the Harwood team are a go-to for their stormwater management familiarity in the municipality here as well.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Okay, Maple Road Bridge repair.
This item before you is for bridge repair, Maple Road over Goldendale Creek, near the railroad tracks. MSA was hired as a consultant, and two feasible options were identified to repair the bridge. It's a deck girder structure, so cutting out so there's a girder that's exposed, and cutting that girder out was evaluated, and having it replaced with a metal I-beam was, I call it option or alternative B. Alternative A was to do concrete repairs on the girder to extend the bridge life 5 to 10 years. That I'm calling alternative A, which is less expensive than alternative B. The costs are outlined in the staff memo. The repairs are expected to last 5 to 10 years. For each of those alternatives, staff's recommending moving forward with the concrete repair to the deck girder bridge, and then plan to program the bridge replacement. So in coordination with MSA, there's an RFP that we have in the works for additional consultant services for working on a grant and then programming the bridge work and the design work for the replacement of this structure, as this is just a temporary repair. So what staff is looking for is support to move forward with this bridge repair with option alternative A.
Prefer A, and they're both only 5 to 10 years, correct?
Correct.
So obviously the
So
secret one
take the-
works for me.
Is this caused by the storm?
No. Age of the structure and deterioration of the bridge.
Maple Road isn't that old, though.
There,
Inches.
Well, I know. I remember that bridge going in. Am I that old?
No,
No,
don't worry about
it.
Where on Maple Road is the bridge?
north
north
of
of Freistadt?
Freistadt and north of the railroad tracks at the Goldendale Creek.
Yeah, so that's the creek that runs through my farm goes through there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that has, Bob, that bridge is so old, it doesn't have a B number. It's got a V number. So,
It's the one north of Freistadt?
correct.
Wow.
Oh, I don't
Yeah.
know if I've been on that bridge.
There's
Anyway.
quite a thickness of superstructure of pavement over the years that have accumulated on that girder deck as well.
So why do we do this Band-Aid and just, why don't we schedule it for total replacement?
Trying to get the grant.
Timing, the repair needs to be done in the near term, and
Trying
the
to buy some time.
bridge replacement is going to take some time for funding and for design and for construction.
Okay.
So isn't there do you want a motion?
Yeah.
All right. What is it? I'll make a motion to go ahead and approve the Maple Road Bridge repair item A, option A. Yes, 65.
I'll second.
Maybe.
Any further discussion? Bob?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Here's a now, acceptance of improvements, water main extension, Green Bay packaging at Holy Hill Road.
This item before you is for acceptance of improvements, as trustee Kaminsky indicated, for water main extension, Green Bay Packaging at Holy Hill Road. While this site work was completed in 2025, the work was inspected and the punch list was completed. The contributed capital records had a number of revisions that took a lot of back and forth to make sure that those documents are reflecting what's necessary for the continuing property records and the PSC annual reports. And that amount of work that was contributed by Brian Builders for the water system improvement totals $153,783.92. And staff is requesting the acceptance of improvements based on the development agreement and to pay Brian Builders a reimbursement for that amount.
Make a motion to approve and accept the improvements of the water main per the development agreement as contributed capital constructed by Bryan Building Company and Wilkeman Contractors, and to pay a reimbursement to Bryan Builders in an amount of $153,783.92.
Second.
Comments, questions?
Is this work that's already been done?
Yes,
This
that's
is a reimbursement?
It's like
that's
a
that's
retainage.
correct.
And was this in the developer's agreement that we would provide this water extension?
Yes. This runs along the High Point Pass, Richfield intergovernmental agreement. So that's why this oversizing of the water main was there, where the developer only needed an 8-inch line, but the system plan called for a 16-inch line. So we're paying the overage from what was necessary for the developer. But since the developer was there, we said, hey, can you build this and size it for the future system? And they said, yes, but it's going to cost you. When they said, how much? So then this is the amount.
Is if it's part of the, is it part of the IGA? Just asking.
Yes,
Then can we bill back Richfield anything?
I believe that is the case.
I think we should look into that.
We had to pay for the side.
The village would seek a reimbursement would be my understanding.
The what?
The village would pay the contractor and then back bill Richfield.
Yes. Right. Okay.
Because that's
That's
established
what
in the
I'm-
IGA.
Okay, but that's what I want to make sure the next step happens.
Yes.
That's all.
Good question.
We have a motion, a second.
Yes, you did.
Any further comments?
Just
All in
make sure.
favor?
Aye.
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 No, it's unanimous.
All right, is that break time?
We're almost done.
Need one?
I got to go to Z or
The
someplace.
Taskmaster.
I'm gonna make it to Z. Oh, it only goes fast.
I couldn't make it to N. Thanks a lot, all you guys. I really appreciate this.
You having fun?
I'm having so much fun.
Are we taking item T?
I pass your farm every day,
Yeah.
you know, when I come home from work. You have horses? in the
Yeah.
back? You ride, or do you just?
No, they're-
Or-
They're show horses. No, they're just for people to see.
oh, Like, I mean, did you ever ride them, or?
Yeah. Adamford, they're in their 30s.
I got one that's 31.
I got one that's 34.
Why?
They're for the,
They do. One has a little bit, but yeah.
yeah, they're there for the kids that come to the market to go see and
Yeah,
say hi, and so they're there to be seen. They're show horses.
yeah, I love that. I love that comment. But I noticed them like way in the back, I just got.
Yeah,
Kind of curious.
we did write them when we got them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Is that gonna air tonight?
Which channel is gonna air? 4?
These are Washington County reports. What's your name again? I'm sorry.
Marcus.
Marcus.
Mark never sleeps. He's everywhere.
Correct. Kevin, we're dragging this out for you, Kevin. Being your last role with the village, it's dragging.
Yeah, this is your last meeting with us.
This is.
Yeah.
We should go to midnight just for Kevin.
We should. Oh. I forgot we were making.
I don't care how nice Kevin is, let's not do that.
Rides bicycle.
It was nice knowing you.
I made it this.
Well, you, no lack of things to do there, well, for sure.
Yeah, there's a few projects going on.
Yeah.
Few projects
Thank
going
you,
on here.
ladies and gentlemen.
Few Projects here and.
It's getting pretty dicey. The guy's elephant?
Good.
No camels?
I will miss you, but thank you for seriously.
Yeah, yeah.
And the
Yeah,
grants.
what?
This
Was it
is,
something I said?
last meeting.
Actually, I printed something out from something Jazz. We're still on break.
Yeah.
We gotta get back, so. This is, you had asked about a summary of grants, so I put. them together.
Yes. Cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks.
Should we, oh,
Great, I'm gonna- T, award contract for Pioneer Road Survey.
Yes, this item before you is the Village of Germantown being in partnership with the Town of Jackson and being selected for another agricultural road improvement program grant by the Wisconsin Department of Transportation to reconstruct to reconstruct Pioneer Road from Division Road, County Highway G, to Country Air Drive, County Highway M. The length of the project is approximately 2 miles. And the jurisdictions between the town of Jackson and village are 50-50 cost share. So a memorandum of understanding is attached for the cost share agreement. And in the grant application, we identified engineering services for the project. And with respect to the 90-10 reimbursement from the state, the municipal obligation is 10%. And then when we split it 50-50, it's down to 5%. So at the time of publishing, we had a proposal from former village surveyor Bob Bilefus, who's now working also as a consultant, and to do the survey. And then that was in the amount of $10,500, and he amended his proposal for an additional $3,000 to do some design work. So instead of $500 that the village would be obligated, it would be now $675 for the services. So I have amended proposals that I can distribute if you'd like with the packet.
Thank you.
13.
Committee? What say we?
I'll make a motion to award the contract for Pioneer Road Survey that has been updated in the amount of $677.50.
Second that. I'll second that
Discussion, Bob?
question. Yeah. we just bought a new total station, right? That, just for Jake, right?
Correct.
Is this something we could do on our, I mean, it's a trivial amount. I'm not worried about that, but just a rhetorical question. Can we do things like this with our total station in the future?
We can do survey work like this in the future with the survey equipment that we have, including the total station and the GPS equipment. There's been work that's been done on Division Road where there's been survey that's been picked up with the new equipment already.
Okay. I would assume
For the phase 2 work, and then there's some storm response work that we just picked up this week with the new equipment as well.
Okay. So it's working well.
It is working well.
So I assume that when we look at surveying needs, we consider us doing it first before we go out.
Yes, in this case,
already
the 90-10 cost share
Yeah.
is very valuable to free up staff time.
Oh, yeah, you can't beat it. Yep, I agree.
Also, it was in process, wasn't it? This project?
Yeah, this Pioneer Road reconstruction is scheduled for design in 2026 and then reconstruction in 2027.
Okay. Does this get in the minutes? This revised dollar amount? How does that get recorded?
We can update the packet so it's in the village. If it doesn't, would it need to go to village board given the amount?
No.
It just I stated in the motion, the new amount, the updated.
So
Would that be clear enough in the minutes?
It's in the minutes.
Okay.
Okay, any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Moving on to agreement with WISDOT for State Highway 145 improvements.
Okay, this item is before you regarding a state municipal agreement where staff is requesting that the Public Works and Highway Committee recommend to the village board to enter into an agreement with the Wisconsin Department of Transportation for as part of the Fond du Lac Road reconstruction project, where there's work at Main Street and sidewalk connectivity. The cost estimates are attached in the packet. The total amount of work that's currently it's currently estimated at $132,000. And staff wanted to bring this forward for consideration. There may be additional work on storm sewer and lighting that could be an amendment to this agreement in the event this agreement is approved or recommended for approval this evening.
Ready?
Do we have to have a motion?
This is 2028, wasn't it?
Yeah.
2028 construction, that's
Does this
correct.
include the roundabout, or that's going to be done
The
for
round-
division?
The roundabouts.
Because
yeah,
that's, they
this year.
cut all the trees and everything down. Yeah.
So just south of the roundabout work is where the project limits would start for the 2028 reconstruction of Fond du Lac, north of Freistadt, south to Pilgrim Road. So this crosses Park Avenue, where there would be sidewalk extension past church, sidewalk extension down church to connect the dead end. There'd be crosswalk improvements as well across Fond du Lac Avenue. And then at Main Street, the intersection would be reconfigured for a perpendicular intersection rather than that obtuse angle that's currently there.
That's great.
And those exhibits are attached in the packet.
So you achieved sidewalk continuity.
That's correct.
And where is the roundabout?
The roundabout is at Division and Fond du Lac, where the old DPW site is.
Oh, yeah, where the police station's going.
Yeah, yep.
So will interfere with any of the village center stuff as you brought forward in this little summary? Okay. Well, this year. Because this isn't going to be done till 2028. Why do we need to talk about it now?
You have to have the agreement in place with staff and DOT to do the work.
This the state consultant, the state's consultant is moving the plans forward and they need to know the items that they're designing for and whether because it's the state shelves the plans months in advance
Gotcha.
often.
So within WISDOT project limits, we're doing some stuff within their project limits. Is that how I read that?
Right. The intersection reconfiguration is part of this, and the state is going along with that reconfiguration. And then we have the sidewalk extension that will happen. And there's some sidewalk that the state is paying for fully. There's some sidewalk that they're splitting the costs on, and then there's some sidewalk they're saying is 100% municipal responsibility.
All of this work is being performed by WISDOT's contractor.
That's correct.
Okay.
And will they be ADA?
Yes.
Of course, yes. I'll make a motion to enter into an agreement with WISDOT for State Highway 145/Fond du Lac Avenue Road reconstruction work at Main Street and sidewalk connectivity in the amount of $132,000.
I'll second.
Further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Main Street and Old Farm Lift Station Facilities Plan Amendment. Does this get affected by what we talked about tonight at all?
No, it was on savings. So at the March Public Works Committee meeting, staff recommended to enter into an additional agreement with Rupert and Milky to do some additional design study that were proposed in other consultants' proposals for the upgrades. It was to look at two parallel force mains versus one large force main, and then rehabilitation of the existing ones. And then the other big ticket item was, instead of doing a screenings building, to look at doing comminution in a smaller chamber channel ahead of the stations. And the good news is they did that analysis, and the savings at Old Farm is about 1.7 million, and Main Street is going to be about $865,000. So it was worthwhile to spend that additional $30,000 to look at those alternatives. So this is not an action item. It was just brought forward for,
News item.
yeah, it was brought forward. Obviously, the phone call will be made to R&M in regards to discussions that we had tonight. But I don't want committee to be too overly optimistic, because our consulting engineers are going to tell us we do not design to a 100-year storm for sanitary sewer.
Well, let's
So, but we
do what we need to do for the public.
we will do our due
Yeah.
diligence and get
Have
them
them
on
come
board.
back and tell us that, so
Yep.
it's not us.
Right.
And maybe if you hear from
Make a
somebody else,
report.
yeah,
Right.
or show up.
Yep. We'll put that in queue and get that happening for June's meeting.
All right.
So I just had one question. You're saving 1.7 at Old Farm and only 80, call it 900 at Main. Adding the same stuff. Why is there such a difference?
Because we're already programmed to be replaced at Main Street, so that's not a savings.
Oh,
And it's a savings at Old Farm because we're going to try to reuse the existing pumps, but now we're going to go with new pumps. And the equipment is much larger at Old Farm, so there's relationship to the savings.
okay. There's a difference. It's the same equipment, but it's larger.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to W, authorization to purchase emergency bypass pump. Let us know how this affects what we talked about tonight.
So, flooding event, internal discussions during budget. We thought it would be important for the utility to invest in another 6-inch pump to convey peak flows in the time of need. This pump would be critically silenced, which means it operates at a decibel level of about 65, which is about the noise level in this room. So it would be advantageous to have this in a residential area in the event that we needed it.
How would How would that, like, what would the event be, like flooding, like they're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, if we would have, yep, we could, we've used these pumps to bypass stormwater. That was the big one in August where you saw all those pumps set up on County Line Road.
Right.
We've used these to do manhole to manhole bypassing while we're doing maintenance on the system. They've also been used to divert stream flows while the highway department replaces culverts.
Could it help with anything they're talking about here tonight?
It could have had we known it was occurring.
That's just a, yeah, okay, good to know though. This is something that we have to tell them that we're doing. It's positive.
So we sought proposals from 3 dealers that deal in these type of large pumps that are critically silenced, Lincoln Contractors, Xylem Water, and Thompson Pump. And Thompson Pump was our low bid at $58,300. So our recommendation is for a committee to support and move this forward onto village board for a 6-inch critically silenced trash pump from Thompson Pump for the amount not to exceed 53,300, or I'm sorry, 58,300, including freight, and forward this recommendation onto the village board, and money is budgeted in account number 60-00000-2460 other pumping equipment in the wastewater utility capital budget.
So you have money in that fund.
It is budgeted for this year, yes.
Cool. All right. I'll make a motion for the authorization to purchase the emergency bypass pump at a cost of $58,300.
So just a preamble. I know we'll talk about this later, Tim, but we're sending 2 messages. These people, we're saying capacity, but then in the same breath, you say another pump would have helped us out in this April thing. So we can talk offline on that. If you got capacity, you're not bypass pumping, so it's not going to make any difference. It just said it could help us, could have helped us.
Had we known what was occurring, we probably would have started an SSO. Because when you have sewage in a basement, it is permitted to do the SSO to prevent further damage to private property.
Even though we had capacity, I don't get that part.
We're at maximum capacity. We were at the limit,
What is SSO?
sanitary sewer overflow.
All right.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Finally, consideration of cost recovery yard waste permit. Always a popular topic.
So I'm just bringing this forward as food for thought. If there is not the appetite to do it, I understand. But the village to date has issued over 4,600 yard waste permits. People know they're free, so they have a habit of coming in, getting one whenever they seem to want one. We have some residents that have up to 9 stickers issued to them. It's not a huge cost. It's not a huge time suck for staff. But the permit is good for 2 years. So if you get a permit for $5, it's really $2.50 a year. Personally, I don't think that's a hardship for me to pay to use the facility. I do use it quite often. And I would like to, at a minimum, limit it to 2 permits per household, unless we keep a spreadsheet, you know. When you come in, you're given your driver's license, your vehicle license, your name, address, so we can verify that you are a village resident.
2 permits per household. I mean, how many people have 2 vehicles
Mike.
that can actually? How many people really have 2 vehicles that can actually transport?
It's
Yeah.
a lot of people have a minimum of 2.
Yeah.
So,
And then if you have teenagers, you've got a car for each one of
Yeah,
them.
but they're not going to be taking stuff to the recycling center.
Never know.
No, I think a
So
limit of 2
I
for
just-
sure.
I just wanted it to bring it forward for
Yeah.
discussion, and if you choose to take action on it, so be it. If not, it's not the end of the world, but I just wanted you
Yeah.
guys to be aware that there is a cost associated with buying the permits and issuing them. And if you choose not to recover those costs, we're just gonna
Other than
absorb it.
manpower, what's the other, how much do they actually cost to produce?
They're at, now that we know what the volume was we did for this last
Mhm.
period, we're just gonna go ahead and order 5,000 right out of the gate, and it's gonna come out to about 35 cents a permit.
Oh,
Okay.
that's pretty reasonable.
Because we're
I-
gonna buy them in bulk versus
Yeah.
buying them 1,000 at a time.
Yeah.
Like we
that
did
was-
initially.
You never know. But we are a village of almost 22,000 people, so that's like a quarter of them. That sounds about reasonable. And I don't want to charge anybody anything right now. I just,
Why don't we wait and see what's gonna happen at budget time? That would be my suggestion.
yeah,
We
I
would-
I
we
don't want
might
to
be-
consider it now.
The reason I'm bringing
Yeah.
it forward now is we're gonna have to have, we're down to about our last 400 permits.
Mhm.
And there's no sense ordering any more for the 2024 to 2026 year cycle when we're gonna be issuing the new ones starting for 2027. And we
Mhm.
typically have those available during tax season, so
Mhm.
people can pick them up when they're paying their property taxes. So we
Mhm.
would just roll it out a little bit early.
Mhm.
And once we use up the ones that are gonna be expiring, we would just get the new ones. So that's why I
Well,
kind of
you
wanted
have to
to,
produce them
That's fine.
anyway.
You
Yeah.
have to
So,
produce them anyway.
yeah.
just wanted to preemptively, bring this forward and
Depending upon how things work out for tax season this year, we might be
so.
charging for a lot of things. You mean, you never know.
I don't
Hopefully it
wanna-
won't get that way.
I don't want to charge for this right now. This is just a year after we said, hey, you're not going to pay for this.
Yeah,
I would let it go
it's
for now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
too soon because it's a 2-year thing.
So we'll
and
just
we
consider
barely
that a
got it.
discussion item and move on.
Like we just-
any,
Yeah.
any interest on limiting it to 2 per household.
I'd support that.
Yeah, I think so. Should we make a motion to that effect? 2 per household is adequate.
Yeah.
They're not going to be a parade of cars from a family going into the recycling center.
I would make a motion to limit the amount of permits per household to 2
For yard-based facility.
for the yard waste facility.
I'll second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
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 One in opposition, it'd be Jan
Me.
Miller. Director's report, we're down to that. Can we maybe just do a couple highlights? I think we've been all ready to fall asleep here.
The big highlight is tonight is Kevin's last night as a village employee. I want to personally thank him for.
Thank you,
his
Kevin. We
service.
all do. Yeah.
A welcome breath of fresh air when he came on board. I'm gonna hate to lose him.
Oh, yeah, but we wish you the best of luck.
Still time, Kevin, to
Yeah.
reconsider.
When do you start your new position? Monday. Wow. Okay. Well, thanks for staying as long as you did. Because
Yeah.
that's, you don't really have much break there.
No, but it's been good to work here. I appreciate it. I'm glad that I've been able to focus on infrastructure improvement projects and it's really good staff here. So feeling in good hands with Tim and Jake and Joe stuck it out here in the audience too.
Yeah. And the committee, of course, is just like beyond your
Oh,
imagination.
yeah. Yeah, maybe it's.
I guess one of the bigger topics I'd just like to touch on is under the highway department. There's been many road culvert failures
Really?
that are attributed to the August and April rain events. And the highway department line item for this work is exhausted, but they will continue to work to make roads safe for the driving public. And they'll just limit what they do in other areas of their budget. So,
I mean, they're full replacements. I mean, there's no,
Yeah, I
there's
mean,
no repairing a culvert, right? I
no,
mean, it's
it's,
just, they're
yeah, these were
gone.
ones that were,
Yeah.
major failures, crossroads. Well, fortunately, a lot of them were in low traveled residential areas, but just so you're aware that, that line item is exhausted.
Okay.
I got a
Oh.
couple you could take.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to see that the materials are on order for the shelter repair at Fireman's Park to be completed by July 4th.
Yes, we will make sure we have
Yes.
those. Yes, they will be done.
Little ones, you know,
And other than that,
face painting. and-
yep, everybody's in full spring mode, a lot of grass cutting going on, hydrant flushing and the water utility Paul's buried with meter replacements. Yeah, it's,
Sounds like business as usual.
nobody is resting on their laurels.
Oh, there are no laurels. Okay, that concludes, our meeting. We have to come up with a next meeting date, which would
We
normally,
need to make an announcement though, because it says announcements.
you have an announcement?
Of course, we have my
Next meeting date
fest.
comes before announcements,
Oh,
lady.
does it?
Look at
All
your
right.
agenda. Okay, next
I'm a
meeting
little
date
dyslexic.
would be Wednesday, June 3rd. Does that work for everyone?
Are we back to the normal time frame?
5:30. We normal time frame tonight.
No, it's like a week later.
Yeah,
isn't
we're a
it?
week later, but yeah, this will be the normal week.
A week later because we had a situation where two people weren't available.
Oh, right.
So our
Okay.
normal time frame is the first Wednesday of the month, which would be June 3rd.
All right, I'm on it.
Good.
Good for me.
That works for everyone?
Yeah.
Staff, it works for?
I'm back to 5:30.
Okay.
All right. If we have.
All right, now announcements. Jan-
Announcement, I'm just announcing that starting Friday night is our My Fest, which is short for Mayfest. And that will be at Fireman's Park under the tent, lots of entertainment and German beer and food. So come on down. Bella Kane will be the headliner on Friday night and the toys on Saturday night.
Thank you, Jan.
And
Adjourn.
the village has a booth there.
Oh, that's
Yes.
important.
Yes.
Bob, go for it.
Bob, go for it.
No, I don't want to steal your thunder.
Oh, and the village has a booth and we're asking for residents to stop by and give us their input for what they would like to see in our village center. It will be a survey, so we'd like you to fill it out and we'll give it to our consultant and it will be tabulated. So please stop by. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan. With that, we will conclude this meeting at 8:36 PM. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
you.
Thanks for the grants.
Thank you so much. You've been awesome. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Well, you're going to stay here and be awesome, so.
Thank you for filling in.
Yeah, of course.
Marge.
We want these back right away.
No, I'll get it from that.
I just want to make a digital version. Yeah. Yes. Sorry, that is. We're going for more politics and more traffic.
That's where you.
In a nutshell, but it's. Garbage carts. No, important. But there's a lot of education.
Very better, but.
Yeah, so people say this is.
Yes.
Christ, 10 years or so. So. So that's what's.
Put on the lakes,
Put on the lake fire. Sorry. So. Come back and. Yeah, come down for us. We have a place.
Best of luck to you. Look at me.
No. Marketing voters.
Sarge. She's there at the print Must be a suit on that.
Yeah. But I'll go Saturday afternoon, straight.
There was.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have any. Mercy. I think it's Smart and Stone. First, real simple name.